JB&M Sports Fanatic channel, guys, and so we're going to do a mock draft here, and I'm joined by Old Man Mob, in which I'll give him a second here in 1 minute to go ahead and tell you guys where you can follow him at. But yeah, we're going to be discussing all the teams in the NFL that, all the draft picks for the first 3 rounds. We're going to go through it there and give you our version of our mock draft here. We'll work together side by side to figure this out, but I'll give it over to Old Man here and let him introduce himself and where you guys can follow him at.
What's good, family? You can find me on Twitter at Old Man Mob. I like to pick on Bills fans just because I live in Buffalo. No hatred or nothing. And you can always talk smack if you want. Come on by.
Nice. And so, yeah, I'll go ahead and get things started so we can get it on the way here and start our mock draft. All right, so first on the board, here's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll go ahead and get things started off here. And so the conversation around the Jaguars primarily has been around Aiden Hutchinson and Travon Walker, it seems as of late. Now, although Kayvon's in that conversation as well, pick your poison. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, I think that you just don't overthink it here and you go Aiden Hutchinson with that pick. Do you agree with that, Old Man Mob?
I agree with that. You think him is the best player in the draft?
Perfect. Meanwhile, we've got Michael here. So good old Michael. He came to come through and see what we got for his Bengals today. He says it's draft day. Well, I wish it was draft day here, but yes, it's the mock draft. And so we appreciate you for coming through here, Michael. And so let's see. Coach Dante, what's good, Coach? What's good? And so since we got Coach Dante here, that is absolutely perfect here for when we get to the Houston Texans. But first, we'll go with Aiden Hutchinson here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, so just waiting on this to go through. All right, perfect. So next up, we've got the Detroit Lions. So Detroit, that's a team that I feel like if it was a different draft, they would be looking to trade back, but I doubt they find an actual trade partner. And so for them, the conversation comes down to ultimately, I feel like, between Travon Walker and then you've got on here out of Oregon. And so what are you thinking, old man? Like, of those 2 players, which is higher on your board here for the Detroit Lions? Which one makes sense here?
David, that's hard to pick. Kayvon, I would say, if I had to pick between Kayvon, it'd be Kayvon.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So for Kayvon here, I feel like for Kayvon, it comes down to pure ability for him. Now, I'll say this for Travon Walker, though, his stock is on the rise here. So for Detroit, I feel like they're not extremely in love with Kayvon out of Oregon, the way that they are, with a guy like Hutchinson or even, Walker's, that growing crush. And I feel like in the war room, it is going to be a back and forth conversation. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, I think at some point you've got to trust, what you believe about this kid. And so taking Kayvon here, he has the ability to come in and be a star for Detroit. So that's the pick we're going to go here for the Detroit Lions. All right, so we've got Kayvon here out of Oregon. All right, let's see what Coach Dante says. All right, so Coach Dante's got Kayvon Thibodeau's being drafted here by the Detroit Lions as well. So all right, I like it. And so, and also, if you guys hear us talking and you don't think that the guys that we're saying is the direction they should go, let us know in the comment section there. Because if we're at odds or if we're at a tie, we'll look to you guys to either break the tie or you guys can basically just throw up the challenge flag and say, hey, I challenged that pick. So definitely. All right, so here we go. So Coach Dante, he's going to give us his advice here for the Houston Texans. He says, Evan Neal for the Houston Texans, but Gardner will be my sleeper pick at 3, but I'm going with Evan Neal if I'm the Texans. And so, all right, so
I agree with the coach.
Just to touch on that, because I agree with him as well. Evan Neal is who I have Houston taking here, but just for conversation's sake, he said Ahmad Gardner. There's a lot of people that have Ahmad Gardner listed as cornerback 1. However, a guy like Derek Stingley comes in with a lot of potential, and I feel like, some people believe in the hype. If you believe that he is that guy that he was his freshman year in college, then he would be cornerback 1. However, from what we've seen in Ahmad Gardner, he is a tremendous talent there. So I certainly can see that being a conversation. However, but when it's all said and done there, I like personally Evan Neal here. For me, he's my best. And he's the best at it in this draft, in my personal opinion. And so, I mean, you're tried and tested coming from Alabama. You know, all the guys in the SEC that you have to go against year after year. This man has been consistent, especially over the last 2 years, but really his entire career at Alabama. And so you get a guy like that, you get someone that's going to come in there, he's going to be able to block for Davis Mills, give him time, whoever in there running back. You get a guy like Evan Neal here, you're getting a cornerstone of your franchise for 10 plus years, guarantee it. And so, but this is where things get very interesting here. If Houston takes my advice here, that'd be a good pick there. But for the New York Jets, we'll let you go ahead and start off the conversation here for the Jets. Tell us your thoughts on where the Jets are right now.
For number 4, I think they go cornerback. Because you got Hill now, you got Hill and Waddle in Miami, and then you got Diggs up in Buffalo. You got to take a corner.
Okay. So we know corner. We're gonna end up going corner here, but just in your personal opinion here, who's the better cornerback for the Jets? Is it Stingley or is it going to be Gardner?
I go with Stingley.
You know what? Great minds think alike.
He has more upside. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think he has more upside.
And so let's see what Coach Dante says. He says, I think the Jets will go with Derek Stingley. And so good old Derek Stingley. And I agree with you guys. And I'll tell you why. I feel like depending on the team, there are some patterns that you can pick up on based upon what teams tend to do. The Jets, they're a team that likes to go after the shiny toy and stuff like that. Not to call Derek Stingley Jr. a toy because he is a great athlete out there. However, you sell them on that hype and stuff like that, and they think about the potential of what he can be. That's something that New York wants. New York wants a star. And so Derek Stingley Jr., if this goes right, he can be a star, and what a star he'll be. And as you mentioned, with Tyreek Hill now in the division after he burned the decision to possibly be a Jet in favor of the Dolphins, yeah, they're going to want to get a guy like Derek Stingley in there and get him immediately. So, all right, here we go. So we agree with that. Let's see what the comments say. All right, let's see. Coach says, I would draft Derek Stingley Jr. to beef up that secondary. And so, yes, I agree with you. And so, I mean, that would be a great pick for the Jets right there. Although I do know that they would love a receiver there and Garrett Wilson, I feel like. But ultimately, you got to get that cornerback in Derek Stingley Jr.
Yeah, I think they can get a wide receiver at 10.
And so, now here we go with the Giants here. For me, Giants go offensive line here, and it's going to be Ikeem. And so, but let's see what Coach Dante says. He says number 5 for the New York Giants is no doubt they're going offensive line, and that's an offensive line from North Carolina State. That's right, Akeem. But what do you say about that, old man? How do you feel about this right here for them?
I agree because let's face facts. Giants haven't had a good O-line. I have not remember last time. Maybe the Super Bowl. You can say the O-line was okay, but yeah, you definitely need O-line. Because you got Saquon who can't stay healthy because he can't get no blocks. Then you got Danny Dimes who has his moments, but you can't fully expect your quarterback to be good when he's getting hit all the time.
That's right. In order to get – it's like what they like to say about Carson Wentz as if he's the only quarterback this applies for, because that's not the case. But for many quarterbacks in the NFL, you have got to give them an offensive line in order to see their best product out there. You know, some of these quarterbacks, they can't go out there and just make something happen out of nothing. They need a good system in place. And what better way to help a guy like Daniel Jones than to get a guy like Akeem in the offensive line there? That's going to be a great move for the Giants. They'll significantly improve that offensive line there, and they're going to be glad because of it. And of course, they'll be picking again shortly, and so they'll get a chance to take someone else.
And if you have to think about taking an O-lineman, look what happened in the Super Bowl. That's all I gotta say.
That's right. That is right. You're right about that. Joe Burrow, he did about as good as anybody can do without a real offensive line. I'll give him credit for that. But ultimately, in the big game, it was just hey, your weaknesses get exposed in the Super Bowl. But let's see what Coach Dante's got to say. All right, he says for the Carolina Panthers, he says he'll go with Gardner and pair him up with J.C. Horn. They did lose Stephon Gilmore. I'm still laughing about that inside because they traded for Stephon Gilmore. I was still mad that we just gave him away for nothing. But Gilmore ended up burning them, and he decided to go to the Indianapolis Colts instead. And so he says, I know you can go quarterback at that situation. I don't think Kenny Pickett will be taken. And so, all right, so Coach Dante says that. What do you say about that one, old man? What do you say about that?
I don't think they go quarterback. They got so much need right now. And what are you going to do? You're going to have Sam Darnold out there for 3 weeks, knowing the fans are going to want, say, if you take Kenny Pickett, they're going to want him out there, and then what's going to happen to him? He's going to get hit. He's going to get hurt. You don't have really that many weapons. You really don't have that great of an O-line either. And everybody's talking about C-Mac. Well, C-Mac hurts all the time. Well, why is that? No O-line, no other deep weapons. I think they go defense.
I think that Carolina, now originally, obviously for all the reasons that you guys mentioned, I mean, quarterback is a need. However, it's like you said, we don't want to set the kid up for failure here. But personally, I feel that taking Charles Cross is the pick. If I'm Carolina, I would go offensive tackle here if I was Carolina. So it seems like I'm the lone rider on that one here.
I could see them going O-line too. I could see them going O-line.
I mean, because personally, you got to do something about that offensive line there. I mean, we know Sam Darnold's not the answer. I think at this point we all agree he's not the answer. However, you get a guy that's a foundational piece on that offensive line to continue to build around, and then hopefully, Christian McCaffrey, hopefully he takes some of his workload off. He'll get healthy and stuff like that down the road. You're hoping and stuff like that, and that Robbie Anderson goes back to 2 years ago for him as opposed to last year. But hey, it's a lot of work to be done, no doubt about that. If I'm Carolina here, I might even consider maybe trading back. There's a lot of things that
see that in my opinion. In my opinion, if there was a quarterback, like the guy quarterback, I think the Panthers would trade back.
And so, all right, but in the situation where we go defense here, I don't think it would be cornerback in round one though for them.
I like Walker.
And so, I mean, this would be a great place to send him if we decided to go edge here for Carolina.
Him and Bones together, that'd be scary.
And so, I mean, when you have Tom Brady in your division, you got to get after him. And so, Trayvon Walker here. So yeah, I mean, between Walker and Charles, I think we should go ahead and go Walker here. Just go ahead and take a guy like that that's going to come in here. I mean, the impact that Walker has, I mean, he's been in conversations in some people's mind as potentially being the first 1 or 2 pick here. And so you saw what Georgia's defense looked like last year. So I like a guy like Trayvon Walker here. So I've been convinced, guys, defense.
Either you're gonna get a good player or you're gonna get a bust. It's just one or the other.
That is true.
Oh.
That is true. And so, all right. So we will go ahead and go Trayvon Walker. And I think this is the point where a lot of people will probably be surprised that Carolina is the one to get him. All right. Now we're back to the Giants right now. So obviously with the Giants on the board here, in terms of what we did for them last time, and I'll just go ahead and scroll up so you guys can see that. Yeah, we went offensive tackle last time where that came out of North Carolina State. So what are you thinking this time around for the Giants?
I think safety. A lot of people be shocked about that, but it's rumored that they're going to take a safety.
And so, yeah, safety certainly an area there. And so, would they pass on Ahmad Gardner? I think that they would go corner in this situation, Ahmad Gardner, potentially. And so, because that's what I would go if I was the Giants there, I would go Ahmad Gardner. But Cal Hamilton, I mean, Cal Hamilton's he's a great star. He's a great, so we'll go ahead and take the direction of Cal Hamilton. I mean, anybody gets Cal Hamilton, you're getting a star in your secondary. So whether it's safety, whether it's corner, I mean, they certainly can use both. All right, let's see what Coach Dante says. Let's see, Coach Dante says, with the Giants, I will go Trayvon Walker with the Giants, the edge rusher out of Georgia. And so, yeah, we already took him with the Carolina selection there. And so with that being, because if he was still on the board, I would have went that direction as well for the Giants there. But with him being gone, a guy like Kyle Hamilton there is selected by the Giants. And so talk about a turn of events right there. All right, but next up are the Atlanta Falcons. And so for the Falcons, I feel like this. Yeah, go ahead.
The easiest pick. It's the easiest pick of them all. You got to go Wilson.
And so, all right, so Olan says Garrett Wilson. Let's see what Coach Dante says. He says, oh, I forget he's off the board. I just seen that. But it's all good. So you said you would go with Kyle Hamilton. And if you were the Giants right there, you can go with a cornerback in so yeah, that's right. You could go either or, but a guy like Kyle Hamilton there's not going to be very many safeties like him later in this draft. And so I guarantee you that. And coach says the Falcons, I would go with wide receiver Garrett Wilson. So I think we all agree here that Garrett Wilson is the pick for the Atlanta Falcons right here. And so the first receiver of this coveted draft gets on the board right here. And so it's Garrett Wilson. And so, I mean, if you're Atlanta, I mean, obviously we know last year they brought in Kyle Pitts. This year, if they go Garrett Wilson, that would have been two of the primary, pass catchers that you guys went out there and acquired in back-to-back years. And then obviously the following year, you get Calvin Ridley back, and assuming everything works out there, and then next year, Atlanta, I feel, will be in position to go after their quarterback of the future next year because Marcus Mariota is going to be a one-year gap, in my opinion. And so I like that move a lot for the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so here we go. The Seattle Seahawks. Let's see. Coach Dante says for the Seattle Seahawks, I think they take care of the offensive line, so I would drive Charles Cross. And so the very reason that Russell Wilson was not happy in Seattle was because that offensive line left a lot to be desired. And so if they stay with that pick right there, I know some people believe that a guy like Jermaine Johnson would be the pick. In my mind, Jermaine Johnson, he moved a little too high up the board, in my opinion. I still see him personally as end of the first round type of thing. So, but Charles Cross, to me, makes a lot of sense for these Seahawks. What do you say, old man?
I agree. Plus, with them bringing in Trent Brown for a visit proves to me that they're looking for a line.
No doubt about it.
Which is funny. You trade was, and now you're finally trying to get an O-line.
Exactly. The very thing that he was complaining about. I mean, he wanted so badly. All right, so now we've got the Jets again here. And so, obviously, for the Jets,
I'm going Drake London.
We went cornerback in time. All right, so you're saying that Drake London, wide receiver here, and that, you know what? That makes a lot of sense right here for the New York Jets here. So
gotta get more wide receivers out there.
Oh yeah, Drake comes off right here for the Jets. I mean, we all know the Jets. They wanted to get a guy like Tyreek Hill. That didn't work there, but getting a big time number one receiver to come in there and play with Zach Wilson is definitely extremely high on their priority chart, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. All right, let's see what Coach Dante says here. Coach Dante says for the Jets, I would go receiver Drake London for the Jets. And so, all right, we're all on the same page. And so now this is where I feel like things get really interesting right here for Washington. Do you guys think maybe Jameson Williams, Chris Olave? There's a couple of routes there, but I feel like wide receiver is the direction to go. It's just a matter of which one will they go here, but I feel like it's either going to be Jameson Williams or it's going to be Chris Olave. So what do you guys think about this one right here for Washington? So
I think they stay with the Ohio State. I think they brought in Samuel, who plays for Ohio State. They got Scary Terry, who plays for Ohio State. I think they just stick with Ohio.
You know what? They've had a lot of success with Ohio State. That is for sure. And I mean, Jameson Williams, he does come with his questions now. He does come with his questions, and so I definitely can understand if they took the route of Chris Olave. I like it here for them. I think this is a perfect fit for them personally. So I'm on board with that. So let's go Chris Olave. And so, all right. And so next would be the Minnesota Vikings. So for me, when it comes to Minnesota here, I'm instantly thinking cornerback here. And so for them, best cornerback on the board, Ahmad Gardner. This is where he comes off the board here a little bit later than many people probably think that he'll be drafted here. But I feel Ahmad Gardner is the pick. What do you think, old man? Do you agree with that?
I agree. You have to bump that secondary up. You got old Pat Man back there, but he's getting old. Definitely taking corner.
But that's a great selection right there because you're potentially getting the best cornerback in the draft at number 12, and so it could be, we could be looking back at this, especially if Stingley doesn't work out, like, oh, that was a great pick right there from Minnesota Vikings. Speaking of great pick, though, we've got the Houston Texans right now on the board. And so this is what we currently got in terms of available players right now.
In my opinion, I think they go in Davis. Trying to get that D line fixed, because think about it. You face Tennessee and you face the Colts. What do they do the most? They love to run the ball.
They love to. That is true. And so if Coach Dante, if you're still there, I would love to hear your input right now for the Houston Texans here for their second selection right now. And so, but Jordan, I feel like this is the very first option in which he could potentially come off the board right there. in this situation, in which that would be a great pickup right there for them. A great pickup right there. They can
Because
go that route.
they haven't had a big guy and on the D line to stop ones and go get it to eat up blocks until they had Wilford. That's the last time they had like a big dude on that line.
Exactly. And so, yeah, they could go that route, could go edge. But, yeah, Jordan Davis will make it happen here. So, Jordan Davis getting off the board here. And, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. All the, like combine stuff and all like that, hyping him up. And so a guy like Jordan Davis in Houston, Texas, that would make a lot of sense there, the former Georgia product, and that would be great. And we got Coach Dante's comment here. Let's see, did we get it right? Coach Dante says, I would like Jordan Davis on the Houston Texans, son, that can clog up the middle. Don't forget, we can get Malik Collins as well, who's really, really good. And so that is true. That is true right there.
Me and Coach are on the same mind.
Right. I tell you, looking at the Houston Texans so far in this one, I mean, Evan Neal first, if they take that route, that's outstanding. I think you get the best offensive lineman. Then Jordan Davis, you get the best defensive lineman right now in terms of in my opinion. And so you get those two guys right there, you've got some real firepower to work with on the defensive line, and you games in the trenches and stuff like that. So I love that one right there for them. But here we go at Baltimore. So at Baltimore up here, I'm thinking right now, based upon the board, Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. That's what I'm thinking right there. Get that offensive line, get Lamar some help right there, because sometimes Lamar's trying to do too much out there. He needs all the help he can get, honestly. And last year they took a receiver there. This is the offensive line help. So Trevor Penning is the pick for the Baltimore Ravens.
And you already know the Eagles are going to go after a wide receiver.
And so, yes, that is. And so with Jameson Williams on the board right there, I mean, let's see what Coach Dante says here. All right, Coach Dante says Baltimore, I think they need some depth at that quarterback situation. I would go. He meant cornerback situation. I would go Trent McDuffie. And so Trent McDuffie to Baltimore. I mean, I remember last year Baltimore was so confident in their cornerback room. It's funny how a year from now things have changed and all that. They were so confident they basically just gave Sean Wade away because, quite frankly, they had a lot of depth on it. And so, but I like that idea right there. But Trevor Penning, that was the pick that we went with Baltimore there to help that offensive line out. But
you got to get that O-line taken care of.
Oh, yes, you have to. But for the Eagles, Coach Dante says, so are you saying that we go wide receiver with this pick, or do we go with, well, obviously with the Saints coming up, you do want to get your receiver.
I'll take the wide receiver. You can't, because right off the bat, the Saints could take him, or the Chargers could be sneaky and take him.
Now, the question is, I like Jameson Williams for this pick right here, but some people may like Treylon Burks. Do you feel that it's a conversation at this point, or do we just go ahead and go Jameson Williams?
If we were picking at 18, I would take Burks. I think he would be there at 18, but at 15, you got to go with Williams.
Perfect.
You got to get that deep threat. You haven't had a really good deep threat player who can catch balls. The last time I would say you had Djax. He's not at that level or nothing, but he could bring that almost to you.
Oh, yeah. And so, meanwhile, Carmichael, what's good with you? Welcome, and thank you so much for joining. He says, hello, JB. And so, yeah, glad to have you here, Carmichael. And so, let's see. Coach Dante says, to be honest, I will go with wide receiver with this pick. He would go with Treylon Burks with this pick. And so I know in my mock draft, I went Treylon Burks here because of the size that he would bring here. When I think of Philly with size, I think of back in the day when they had a guy like Terrell Owens, that one magical year, not the second year, the first year that they had him with that size and stuff like that. Let's see what else Coach Dante says here. But this is good to have these conversations here, because these are the conversations that they're going to be having in the draft room. And so let's see. Coach Dante says, but I think the Eagles need a bigger body receiver, so that's why we'll actually go with Treylon Burks instead of Jameson Williams. And so, all right.
How big is Burks, by the way?
In terms of Treylon Burks, and so let me look up his actual size and give that to you real quick here. So give me 1 second here. But meanwhile, Carmichael says, I would have to go with Burks. And so, all right, so I think we've got 3-1 here. So I think the Traylon Burks have it here, and it makes a lot of sense. But let's go ahead and pull up Traylon Burks' size real quick, and I will get that for you guys real quick here. But yeah, he comes with with tremendous size here. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, and so
yeah, I'll go with him. Yeah,
that can give you some size right there.
I didn't think he was that big. I thought he was like 6'1" at first. But yeah, no, him with that, yeah, you definitely take it.
You got some. You got like a receiver with that size now. I know they got a lot of small guys there, but that's what you got Devontae Smith for last year with that, size. But you get a guy like Traylon Burks, now you get the best of both worlds out there, and they'll grow together and be a nice combination out there. And so let's see. Coach Dante says, because you got Devontae Smith, and you got Quez Watkins. That's right, Quez Watkins. I remember him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Watkins too. Yeah.
And so that's why we got Coach right here. And so yeah, Traylon Burks for the Eagles, a playmaker and a receiver that can catch 50-50 balls. And so you know what that means. If they go this route, that means the Saints with famous Jameis. There's no conversation to be had right here. Jameis and Williams. Oh yeah, he's coming off the board right here. Because Jameis, he's gonna give you that whole, shuffle, go deep, and I mean whoever catches it, that's who catches it. But Jameis and Williams to get that, he'll be able to run it up, he'll be able to run down that ball, that's for sure. And so at this point, though, I feel like in the top 16, like all the real like tier 1 receivers here have been taken. I know John Dotson's up there, but he strikes me as a slot receiver there. But we'll get to him later on. But right now, we've got the Chargers on the clock.
O-line.
And so, yeah,
I'll look at O-line first.
Is certainly there. And so, in terms of what else, just for conversation's sake, what else the Chargers could have been looking at there? I think if a guy like Jordan Davis was still on the board, that's someone that you could have considered at that spot. But ultimately, don't overthink it. Offensive line, but looking at the board right now, Zion Johnson from Boston College. That's where I'm leaning at. What do you think right now, man?
You took it right from my mouth. I'm taking him.
All right, let's see what Coach Dante says. All right, so Coach Dante has Tyler in the band. So Tyler's a very intriguing player. He is a very intriguing player. And so, but I personally feel in this situation right here, I think the Chargers personally would go Zion Johnson as opposed to Tyler. But Tyler is going to be a tremendous pick. So I'm going to go ahead and go Zion Johnson there. But my man Tyler, he's going to be a star. I just think he's going to slide in this draft, quite frankly. But yeah, and we're going to be looking at it like why, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. But I think teams are just going to overlook him, and he's going to be one of the bigger names that slides to that bottom of the first type of area. But yeah, Zion Johnson out of Boston College, great right there, and that's going to help a guy like Justin Herbert be able to take that next step. And really for the Chargers, they got to be healthy out there. I like some of the moves that they made in free agency, which is getting overlooked by other teams and what they did in their free agency. But the Chargers, they fell just short last year, and they will use that as motivation this upcoming season to try to get in there in that playoffs. And so let's see. Carmichael says that he would take Zion. So, all right, so Carmichael agrees there. All right, Coach Dante says, oh, that is a great pick to Zion Johnson. I like that. Can't go wrong. And so you're right. You can't go wrong, and that's what we're looking for.
You couldn't go either one. You couldn't even go. Even if you pick Tyler, he's still getting a great player.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I like the what he can do on the offensive line in terms of multiple positions for Tyler. So I really like Tyler. In my mind, he's a top 15 prospect. However, I just feel like on draft boards, he's going to end up sliding on the boards for whatever reason. I just got that feeling he's going to slide. But all right, so here we go with the – yeah, go ahead.
I think you were right about the slide because we always have that one guy who everybody thinks, oh, he's going to be drafted mid, maybe 15, and then he drops all the way down.
Oh, yeah, he seems like the perfect candidate for that role as well. But let's see. Carmichael says the Eagles need a linebacker. That is true. And so Coach Dante says, all right, so Coach Dante says Nakobe Dean. I'll ask you, old man, because when we're looking at the linebacker, obviously for me, there's only two choices up here. Now, you either go Devin Lloyd or you go Nakobe Dean. You just pick which one you personally like better for this specific I'm sorry, I can't even speak right now. Specific team. And so I personally love Nakobe Dean best over Devin Lloyd. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Devin Lloyd, but for this team right here, I like Nakobe Dean better for the Eagles than Devin Lloyd. But what do you think, old man?
For the Eagles themselves, I'm going with Dean.
All right, so we've got –
I think he fits the system better than their system, I think Dean would fit better.
Okay, perfect. And so let's see. Coach Dante says he would go on the Kobe Dean over Lloyd because Lloyd is actually an outside linebacker and a great pass rusher to Kobe Dean, who is actually a middle linebacker. And so key point right there. Let's see. Carmichael says I would go Lloyd. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like Brandon Lloyd there for some teams better than others. But for this one right here, Kobe Dean feels like the right choice here.
The only way I would see them going Lloyd is if they didn't bring in Harris. From the Carolinas, the Cardinals. I mean, they brought him home. If they didn't bring him in, I think then they go to Lloyd.
Let's see. Coach says I like Devin Lloyd too. Devin Lloyd can do everything. That's right. He can cover. He can pass rush. But Nakobe Dean is an actual middle linebacker, and that's what the Eagles need. And so the Nakobe Deans have it right now. So that is going to be the pick there for the Philadelphia Eagles. And of course, I can see them going Devin Lloyd as well, but that is who I think should be their pick. All right, so next up, we've got the Saints here again. And so what do you think about the Saints right now in this one?
This is tough because I could see them actually taking a quarterback.
I have pondered upon this because early on, if you asked me early on, who should the Saints take with that second pick? Like I would say if Malik Willis is on that board, you have to take him. Jameis to me feels like he's going to be that quarterback for 1 year, and that's really it, this upcoming year. And so, and this is the perfect place. I say either the Saints or the Steelers. It's the perfect place for Malik Willis to go at. Anything else, I feel like for him, he has to go to a strong organization where he can go and actually sit there for a full year and develop. But yeah, go ahead.
If Peyton was still the head coach, I would say they take Malik because he liked Taysom Hill. He liked Hill, how he could run, how he could be gadget. I think he would actually go with Malik. But since it's a new head coach and everything, they might go Kenny Pickett Hill. He's like quarterback ready. You let him sit for maybe half the year. And when start doing that 30-30 again, where he's throwing 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, you could tell him, hey, we're going to try the kid out.
That is true. Let's see. Carmichael says,
it's a toss-up, though.
Oh, it is a toss-up. Let's see. Carmichael says, I feel like the Saints should take Malik or Pickett. And so given how the board is right now, I mean, if I'm the Saints personally, because I mean, and I'll just go ahead and go narrow it down to these quarterbacks here. So if you believe in your heart of heart that Malik Willis is who everyone seems to think that he is, if you truly believe that, you're in a better position as the Saints to be able to take him and let him rest for a year. You don't need him to play year one if Jameis Winston stays healthy this year. Jameis can go out there and hold it down for at least a year. So that gives you time to develop. And I know it would have been better if Sean Payton, was still head coaching there, but you got to believe, like the assistants that they have and stuff, that they're confident in the program that they have there from Malik Willis. So I think the Saints, if they're going quarterback in this situation here, they're going to go with the guy that they think is going to be the best quarterback 2-3 years down the road. And that's going to be Malik Willis in their mind right there. And so, I mean, they want the guy with the most upside here. So I think that Malik Willis would be the choice right here. But let's see. Carmichael's got his comments here. Let's go ahead and see what he has to say. I mean, like right now we've got one Pickett. We've got one Willis. Let's see. Carmichael says, I think that they would take Pickett. And so, all right. So Kenny Pickett. Let's see. Carmichael says, I feel like it's just a better fit for the Saints. And so fit does come into play there. And so, all right. So Carmichael says Kenny Pickett. Old man is leading the direction of Kenny Pickett as well. I say Malik Willis. Go ahead.
The reason I picked Pickett is he kind of reminds me of how the Saints like to run their offense. With Drew Brees, he's not gonna outdo you with this speed. He ain't gonna run like Malik. But I think Pickett could be like on Drew's left, where he could pick you apart by throwing, staying in the pocket. Malik has the arm, but we all know how running quarterbacks are. They always like to run into tackling, into sacks.
Yeah,
Me personally, I'll go pick it. I'll go pick it with the
not to
Saints.
mention, and we cannot forget that, a guy by the name of Drew Brees had a lot of success there even towards the end when his arm was starting to, fade out. And so, all right, so we'll go Kenny Pickett with the pick here. So Kenny Pickett will be the pick for the Saints. And you know what that means right there? If they take Kenny Pickett, then the Pittsburgh Steelers, at this point in time, I say Malik Willis, no brainer for the Steelers in this one right
and
now.
I think that would be his best landing spot. You got a head coach that been there for so long, and he's a stone there. He's gonna tell you what he expects from you, and you do it. Plus, he's not gonna be hard on you right off the bat. He's a player's coach. He's not gonna try to tell you, "Oh, I want you to do this way. If you're not doing this way, you're gone." He's gonna let you grow.
Oh yeah.
Plus, if you look at it, Pickett is kind of in a way he likes to throw the ball. We all know Trubisky likes to run.
Yes. All right, so here we go. So Carmichael says take Malik, and that was for the Steelers pick. And so so Malik, I like it there for the Steelers as well. Let's see, Coach Dante says Pittsburgh are taking Malik Willis, and so perfect. Let's see, Coach Dante says for the New England Patriots, I will go with Andrew Booth Jr. And so now this is a conversation that we've had, and at one point in time, I feel like the both of us, at one point in time, he was on our board there, but I think we've swayed away from going at the cornerback route at this point for the Patriots. And given the board right now, just to list a couple options there, Devin Lloyd's an option, Andrew Booth Jr. is an option, and also I feel like on the defensive line, Devontae Wyatt. Those three are options for the New England Patriots there. And so Old Man says Devontae Wyatt right there. And I like the pick of Devontae Wyatt right there. I mean, I feel like they either can take this route there, or I feel like personally Bill would take probably Devin Lloyd there potentially, but I like Devontae Wyatt.
If I'm Bill Belichick right now, if I'm Bill Belichick and I'm looking at the board right now, I would actually trade back, but since we're not really doing the trade back and stuff, is Wyatt or a corner? And there's a lot of corners left, ain't there? There's still McDuffie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, looking at this board right here, if you're the Patriots, if you don't take Devontae Wyatt right now, I mean, no offense to these guys right here, but by the time they get back on the board again, they
won't be there. That's what I'm saying. There's more corn. Yeah. There's more depth in a corner. The only way I would like us to take the corner is if Wyatt's not on the field. You take a corner then, because you can always try to get Jones, who's DT, who's not on the level of Wyatt, but he's like right below him. He'll eat up the run. He'll body people up. He'll take double team. But with Wyatt being on the board, I'm taking him. That's just me though.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, I'm looking at the corners on the board here. Bill has had a history of taking guys in between rounds 2 through 5 at the cornerback position, and he gets the best out of them. I feel like, honestly, if there's you talk about what does Bill do best in the draft, it's taking defensive backs in the middle of the draft and developing them. So with that in mind, I'm going to trust Bill to do that later on. So I'm going to go ahead and go Devontae Wyatt here, defensive line out of Georgia.
But don't forget, Bill Belichick also takes undrafted corners and get them paid. Look at JC. He got them paid.
That is true. All right, so now we've got Green Bay Packers. And so as I say, there's really no conversation here other than just how quickly can they press Johan Dotson.
Oh, no, here's a question, though, before you hit that. Do you think he will be there at 28?
Do I think that he would be there at 28? Given the fact that Buffalo's coming up and Tennessee's coming up and Tampa Bay's coming up, no. One of those three teams would take him before Green Bay gets back to him. Because, I mean, Buffalo, they know that they can use some receivers for the future there. Tennessee, Robert Woods, he's coming off that injury right there. A.J. Brown's going to need some help. And then if it goes down to Tampa Bay, you need an A.J. Brown replacement. So if you're Green Bay, you can't play around with fire in this scenario. It's the need is that bad. You got to go ahead and do it. You've got to go ahead and do it.
All right.
And so
the only I asked you because I can see them taking a few because they need help in the secondary.
Oh yeah. They can definitely take that route, but right now they got to get that receiver. They must get that receiver, Dawson. They can't play around and mess around and let someone either trade up and get them or something like that. Well, speaking of corner though, Arizona, I'm thinking Arizona, perfect place for a guy like Trent McDuffie, or if not Trent McDuffie, then maybe we get an edge player here potentially to replace the loss of Chandler Jones. What do you guys think about that? I'll just show all the players real quick.
It's either between McDuffie or Greg.
And so, yeah, I think McDuffie makes a lot of sense there. Cardinals defensive back, they certainly can use a guy like him.
Do they really even – who is the main corner? I don't think they really have like a top-tier corner.
Yeah, like ever since because I think last year, didn't they have isn't Malcolm Butler coming, like, who came back with us? Isn't he leaving Arizona?
Butler retired. So, yeah, Butler retired. So, yeah, they quickly go corner now. I would go. It would McDuffie still being there at 23.
Yeah, so. All right, so that pick is made. And so now we've got the Cowboys up here. And so I expect over the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be aggressive early on in this draft. Like, if we were doing trades and stuff like that, they would be one of the prime teams to try to move up and get a Jameson Williams or something like that early on. But for where they are right now for the Dallas Cowboys, what are your thoughts for the Dallas Cowboys given the board right here?
See, nobody's going to like this, but they would take Tyler. Try because they always love that line.
I think
I could see Cowboys saying, you know what, take the, because then you got Trent on the left, you got left side taking care of, you got center taking care of, and your right guard taking care of, because they gave up, they cut Collins, so they need O-line help bad.
Oh yeah, they definitely do, and I agree with you in terms of O-line. It's just I think the conversations between if they go Tyler here or if they go Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M, I feel like it's close enough to where it's a conversation for the Cowboys. And so
it's a coin flip.
But I mean, if they go Tyler here, that is a great selection here. So we'll have them taking Tyler here, and we'll stop the slide from my man Tyler, because I feel like Tyler has a range here where he could go, early on. Well, in my mind, he's a top 15 player, but he won't be a top 15 pick. But I can see him waiting and sliding, like every pick that comes up. Like, is this gonna be the team? Is this gonna be the team?
Yeah, so I don't see him getting out the first round. I either see him going to the Cowboys or actually might go to Buffalo to try to get that line.
I got Tyler. He doesn't. There's no way he gets past Cincinnati at 31. If he's on the board, Cincinnati takes him at that point. Like, there's no way he slides further than that. Otherwise, somebody's going to get fired that same day. All right, let's see. Carmichael says, Dallas, I have going Tyler. And so, perfect. All right, so we got the Buffalo Bills up here on the clock. And so, for good old Buffalo, what are your thoughts for Buffalo in this situation?
I could see them either going wide receiver, running back, or they go corner. Try to get White some help on the secondary.
All right, so for Buffalo right here, I could see them going cornerback right now, potentially, at this spot right here. I mean, receiver does make sense, but looking at the receiver board right here, if you're going to take one of these receivers, I feel like you do it in the next round or third round.
Yeah.
They're running back. You can wait till the second. Yes, you can get either Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker. I think you can do that in the second round right there and address that need. But getting a cornerback right now, if you're Buffalo, Andrew Booth Jr., that's the perfect spot right there for him.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do.
I would hate it. I would hate it for New England, but for Buffalo,
yeah.
Bad Booth.
Oh, yeah, and that would be a great pick for him. Let's see. Carmichael says I had the Bills taking a cornerback. And so, all right, perfect. All right, so we got the Tennessee Titans on the clock right here. So things get pretty interesting here for the Tennessee Titans. And so, obviously, I feel like for Tennessee, it depends on how the board plays out and stuff like that, at especially at wide receiver and stuff like that. I personally think in this spot, you potentially see a guy who I probably have as a second rounder personally. Some teams are going to draft a guy a little bit earlier. I think Christian Watson gets drafted out of North Carolina State by the Tennessee Titans because they can certainly use a wide receiver. So I could see him being the selection for Tennessee. But what's your thoughts here for the Tennessee Titans?
No, I see them going wide with two, especially with the problems they're having with Brown right now. You might want to get off. You might want to get traded. I can see them going wide receiver.
Let's see. Carmichael says I would have them going linebacker. And so, the interesting thing is, if we look at our big board, though, we still got Devin Lloyd up here. That's a surprise. That is a surprise. I'll go ahead and look at the big board real quick and see the best available players. I mean, still got Jermaine Johnson up here. That's potential right there. Still got we got a couple guys up here that I would have thought would have been top 15 picks up here, but there's still. That's just sometimes how the draft goes. Sometimes, honestly. So if I'm Tennessee, I'm thinking long and hard right now. If I'm Tennessee, just given how the board is shaping out right now. And so obviously I know that, wide receiver, certainly a need right there. But linebacker, you can get a guy like a Devin Lloyd right now, or you can go edge, in which I think edge would be something that they really should probably go right here. Now that I'm thinking about it and looking at the board, just off of value alone, Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. I kind of like that. The more I think about it, the more I kind of like that. But I mean, receivers the need. But given how the board is right there, can we say, if we're Tennessee, that we would take Christian Watson right now over Jermaine Johnson, or either Devin Lloyd? I think that's the question that Tennessee would have to ask in this spot, because we know they would like to get a receiver, but you can get a receiver. You can probably get that maybe in round 2. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, old man. It seems that we have lost connection here with him, so we'll wait for him to get back here. But you guys in the comment section, let me know here, what should be the pick? Should we go Devin Lloyd here for the Tennessee Titans, who in my opinion is the best player on the board right now? Should we go George out of Purdue here? That's also a very great, intriguing player right there. Or should we go Jermaine Johnson? Or should we go wide receiver, as we originally talked about, in which I feel like if Johnson's on the board there, I feel like that's the pick right there. But given just how the board shaped out right there for Tennessee, you have a chance to really get a great edge player in Jermaine Johnson, or get George here from Purdue. So let's see. Carmichael says he likes the Kobe Dean. But he's not on the board anymore. Let's see. Carmichael says or Lloyd. And so, yeah, I don't think my man Lloyd gets too far on this board here, but I like Jermaine Johnson, guys. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And so let's see. All right, so we have old man here back. All right, but yeah, I was just discussing, old man, in terms of the potential to take a guy like Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, or maybe even Devin Lloyd here. So yeah, because I know receiver is up there, but just given how it is right now.
On the board?
Yeah, Devin Lloyd still up there.
I'm shocked he fell this hard.
Yeah, I think at this point, if Tennessee season, you know how Mike Vrabel values defense. He values defense. That defense for Tennessee, that's important there. I think Devin Lloyd's the best player in my mind that's still on here. So if I'm Tennessee and you value the defense the way that someone who played linebacker himself, Mike Vrabel, sees a kid like this on the board, he's going to call all conversations stop. He's going to say, look, we have to do this. We have to do this. Just like we were having that conversation there, and we're like, well, he's still on the board. We were not anticipating this. That's sometimes how the draft plays out. So Devin Lloyd, we're probably the only people in the U.S. here that has Devin Lloyd going to the Titans right now. But that's just how the draft can get crazy right there. So absolutely. Let's see. Carmichael says, I think they just really need a good linebacker. And so, well, a guy like Devin Lloyd, that is that guy right there. So, but now you got Tampa Bay. Go ahead.
I about to say, if you need a linebacker and you Lloyd is there, you're good now.
Oh, yes. You are great right now.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah, now with Tampa here, I mean, I feel like this could be a potential place where obviously we know, an aging quarterback here, what's the best way to help him out? I mean, is this where Kenyon Green goes? Or, I mean, if Devontae Wyatt was still on the board, this would have been a great pick right here for Tampa Bay at this spot if he was still on the board. Could we go edge here with Jermaine Johnson potentially? Because I looked at the D-line right here, and I don't want to take Logan Hall with this pick. I just don't want to take him right now with this pick. So
I would go edge because they did lose. I don't know if they.
Yeah. Now, when we go edge here, I have to ask this because it depends on how you feel about these edges right here. But Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, though, I feel like that's a great pick here. Obviously, they have him ranked 12th here on a board here. And so I feel like him and George side by side there. But Jermaine Johnson, for this team right here, he'd add a lot of value here for the Buccaneers. So I think that's the route that we should go. That will certainly help that defense. So I'll go ahead and make the pick there for Jermaine Johnson. So as you can see, back to back, we had a lot of guys that probably the last two picks, most people probably had them going in the top 15, honestly. But, I mean, sometimes that's how boards happen. Guys tend to slide down the boards. And, hey, I mean, that's a great pickup for the Buccaneers. They certainly won't let a guy like Jermaine Johnson slide too far down. That is for sure. So it seems like we lost old man again here, but he'll be back. All right, so the Packers are right now on the board. All right, now for the Green Bay Packers, I think a guy like David Ojabo would be a great second selection here for Green Bay. Obviously, early on, we had to go wide receiver with the first pick there. And so I think if we go edge here, George could be a pick as well, but I just feel like for Green Bay that maybe David is going to be that guy for Green Bay specifically in this role right here. And so you guys let me know your thoughts on taking that direction right there. If we go, and I'll just narrow this down to edge real quick. All right, let's see. Carmichael says, all right, so Carmichael says, I have them going David. All right, so David, you got them going David Ojabo as well. And so I see that George is up there, but I feel like just for the Green Bay Packers specifically, that David Ojabo makes a lot of sense right here. So I'm pulling the plug here on David Ojabo. What do you think about that, old man?
David with the Packers?
Yes.
Yeah, they more than likely will with him.
All right, so we find ourselves here with a very interesting spot here for the Kansas City Chiefs. We've talked about the departure of Tyreek Hill. That's been storylines right there. We know wide receiver is certainly an area of need. But looking at these guys on the board here, does anybody love any of these receivers on the board enough to take them with any of these next two picks that they have? I mean, obviously, you've got George Pickens up here. I think Christian Watson gets some consideration if I'm Kansas City. Right now. So tell me, what do you think?
With KD, either you go edge hill or you take a wide receiver because you need another body. Yeah, they brought Suzu in, but he's only a 1 year. He's a 1 year rental. It's between.
So, I tell you. I'll put it back up.
It's hard because you can either go. I like Watson. Kristen.
I like Watson. On my board, Christian Watson is a little just like maybe one above, like literally right above Pickens for them. Now for Kansas City, though. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll make the easy choice first because I feel like one of these, you go ahead and you take the best player here at edge. And so you take that for Kansas City if you're here because you're going to pick right back to back. So it doesn't matter the order.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and get that out the way so the draft room can have a little bit more time to have that conversation between whether it's going to be Pickens or Watson here. Now for Tennessee, I'd have went Watson if I had chose wide receiver. However, for Kansas City, though, I'm strongly considering Pickens here. I'm starting to think. I mean, I feel like it's hand in hand right now. You pick your poison here, but let's go ahead and let's go with Watson here because on my board he's just a little better here, and it comes with that potential. You hook him up with Pat Mahomes. He ain't never seen a quarterback like Pat Mahomes down there in North Dakota State. No offense to whoever's quarterbacking down there. So, but go ahead.
And this problem, it's a good problem, but it's a problem with this draft.
Yes.
Once you get away from the top tier wide receivers, it depends on your system and who you like. Because from right now, these wide receivers are so close together. You can't go wrong on its system.
Exactly.
And like face back, you got Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, exactly. He can wing it out there. Whoever comes in, they'll get an opportunity. But this just fell right into their lap there. Cincinnati, Kenyon Green, this just fell right into their lap. I feel like that's a no-brainer right there. We all saw the Super Bowl, so that's a no-brainer there.
They did bring in a couple people.
Saying. What'd you say?
On the O-line. But Green.
All right, so having some audio issues right there, so we'll wait for him to come back here. But I'll read on Carmichael's comments right now. He says, I would take Pickens, and so you can't go wrong with that because I feel like either one of those receivers just depends on whichever one you have a preference for, honestly, between the two. But, I mean, if that was the route right there, then, hey, Kansas City would have had a good one as well. But certainly, either one of those two receivers, I feel like they're neck and neck. Let's see, Carmichael says, and probably a D-line or edge. And so perfect. So, yeah, so with just to recap. So, yeah, with the Chiefs, we went George Karlaftis out of Purdue with 29 because I went with that one first because, quite frankly, that's the easier conversation there. He should have been drafted top 15. At one point in time, he was projected to be a top 15 pick. But then after that, we went with Christian Watson there. Could have went Pickens route as well. But Cincinnati, that was easy. Kenyon Green. Now for Detroit. And so if I'm Detroit here, there's many holes on this team right now. Many holes on this team. And so, but we could go corner here. We could go Dexton Hill. Now, Dexton Hill, in my opinion, would be a great selection right here simply because he can play that corner safety role right there. So you get a guy that can do either or. So I feel like for this team right here, taking a guy like Hill is that conversation. Or if you really like Edom and feel like he's that dude right there, you could take that route as well. Old man, are you there?
Yeah, I think they go Hill.
And so, yeah, I like that flexibility that he provides there. And so I feel like that's the pick. But let's see. Carmichael says, he says, I would take Matt Corral or Dexton Hill. I feel Dexton Hill is definitely the right move because let's face it. If you're Detroit right now and you draft a guy like Matt Carroll, you're going to set that kid up to where he's probably not going to be able to succeed. And by the time you build a good enough team, quite frankly, it's going to take some while to get some pieces. He's going to come out and struggle. Fans are going to turn on him quickly. It's going to turn bad. So ultimately, you go Dexton Hill here. Continue to get as many good players as you can right now and build this team. And so a guy like Hill, that's going to be a great pick for the Detroit Lions that you can continue to work and build around for this team. So that completes round one. So let me just see really quickly if I can get a recap. Hopefully this doesn't mess things up here. Okay, that's just going to show that. All right, but yeah, I'll just recap what we did in round one real quickly for anybody that hadn't seen the very beginning here. All right, so given how the first 7 picks that we see up there on the board right now, Aiden Hutchinson, that was fairly easy there. Don't overthink it. He's right now still, in my opinion, the top guy on people's boards. Now for Detroit, some people might have, Trevon Walker going there, but I feel like at the end of the day, Kayvon, he's still my number 2 guy in terms of edge, and so he gets that selection right there. Houston, Evan Neal, in my opinion, the best offensive lineman in the draft there. Houston gets a great guy who's going to come in there and be a cornerstone of this team for 10-plus years. The Jets, Derek Stingley Jr. comes in there and gives them the super power that they wanted right there. I mean, that's quite frankly what they're looking for, and that's why they chose him over Gardner in this situation there. The Giants get their offensive lineman and Akeem there out of North Carolina State, which is a great move for them. I mean, if Daniel Jones, if he's going to have any time to do something, he needs a little bit of time. He's shown you give him some time, he can get you a little something going. He really can. Then for Carolina, which may be perhaps the biggest shocker for a lot of people, is that we had Trayvon Walker going to Carolina in this move. You think Carolina back in the day? I think of the days when they had, your Julius Peppers of the world and all that stuff. And so when Carolina's been at their best, they've had a lot of edge guys that can really get after you and just straight up dominate and all like that. Whether we're talking on the edge, whether we're talking on the D line, a guy like Chris Jenkins, whoever, Carolina's at their best when they have great edge rushers. And then at number 7 for the Giants, there was a little bit of debate with that one. Where do they go Gardner? Where do they go Hamilton? But at the end of the day, a guy like Kyle Hamilton, you're not going to find him outside of where you have him right there, because once he's off the board, the quality at that safety is just not at the same level as a guy like Kyle Hamilton. And so what are your thoughts right now, old man, just on as we're going through the first 7 picks that we had up there? What stood out to you, and what do you think ultimately could sway this draft one way or another in terms of which pick could change the draft? Are you there, old man? All right, must be some audio issues right there, so we'll carry on. All right, so next we had the Atlanta Falcons taking Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. And so, quite frankly, it just comes down to you need a wide receiver, quite frankly. And a guy like Garrett Wilson, he's too good to pass on. We know in the past, Atlanta, they have made heaven move in order to get a wide receiver. And so it's just not going to change this year. Garrett Wilson, you get him the best receiver on the board out of the Ohio State, and he's going to come in there and allow you to be able to make some plays. You have him, you have Kyle Pitts. You're going to at least give Marcus Mariota at least a chance the year one to come out there and show you if, this investment was worth making, or at least at the very least, you have some weapons for the next guy that you bring in my opinion, in next year's draft, whether that be Bryce Young, whether that be, CJ Stroud, whoever it is, at least you'll know that whenever you do get your quarterback of the future, you'll know that you have Garrett Wilson to throw the ball to. That's going to make you feel a lot better. For the Seahawks, their offensive lineman, is funny that this be the year that they go ahead and finally address the offensive line issues, considering just how everything has been playing out so far with the whole Russell Wilson, how that series came to an end there. Obviously, he's in Denver now. And then now they would go ahead and get their offensive lineman here to help work on that offensive line and get the rebuild on the way. Had the Jets taking Drake London. And so, Jets definitely needed a wide receiver there. But obviously with the 4th pick, though, I felt like Derek Stingley Jr., they know that he would not going to be on the board by the time they pick again. And a guy like Drake London, a great guy. You look at what he did before he got injured, and he was doing a lot of things. He doesn't get injured, who knows? Maybe he's the top wide receiver. Same can be said, though, about Jameson Williams, I feel. All right, Washington, we went Chris Olave. Vikings, we went Ahmad Gardner. And then interesting, the Houston Texans, we went Jordan Davis. You think of Houston defensive line, they haven't had a run stopper since they had Vince Wilfork up there in the middle. So having a guy like Jordan Davis, that would be absolutely tremendous for the Houston Texans right there, to really give them that star power there. So him plus the addition of Evan Neal early on, if you're a Houston Texans fan, you're probably flipping over your chair if they make these 2 solid picks right here. I feel like if Kyle Hamilton's still on the board at this point, that they probably would take him in this situation there. But whoever the Texans get, the Texans are going to come away from the first round feeling like champions afterwards. I guarantee it. For Baltimore, we took Trevor Penny in there. Offensive line, get Lamar Jackson some help there, give him some protection. That's the mission. And so Trevor Penny, he's going to be the one that we look to get that done. For the Eagles, even though we saw Jameson Williams still on the board, there was some conversation back and forth as to whether or not we should take Jameson Williams at that point. But ultimately, we already know Devontae Smith, he's a small receiver. But Trey Burks, he comes in with a size 6'3", 225 pounds there. He's going to give you that the ability to get those 50-50 passes. And so he's going to be someone that Jalen Hurts is going to love. Because Jalen Hurts, when he's under pressure, he can just locate this man, big target, and just throw it up there. That's what he wants to do. A guy like Jalen Hurts is going to move around. He wants to just throw it up there, give him a chance, get the 50-50 ball, and that's exactly what you get with a guy like Traylon Burks. And so if he can go out there and reach his potential, this would be a great pick for the Eagles. Well, speaking of great pick, though, for the Saints, Jameson Williams, we went with him out of Alabama. So Jameson Williams, he's the guy that everybody's been eyeing in terms of what he looked like when we saw him on the field. Jameson Williams, he looked tremendous out there. So if a guy like Jameson Williams is unable, like if he's on that board right now, the Saints are going to take him. Him plus Jameis Winston, Come on now. It doesn't get any better than that. Let's see, 17,
Man,
Zion Johnson. Perfect. We've got old man here back. Perfect.
these Bills fans don't
Let's
like
see.
us, JB.
They're working on you. I see. Perfect. And so, but yeah, so right now I was just talking about the Jameson Williams with the Saints pick that we had right there. And so looking at the board from and I'll move it up here from 17 to 24, which one of these picks do you feel like, stood out to you and for what reason?
I say the Kenny Pickett one with the Saints. They could either go, like you said, they could either go with William, they can go with Mark, or they can go with Kenny Pickett, and they went with Pickett. I just think think stands out the most because they in win mode. That tells me in a year from now, they expecting Brady to either be gone from the NFL or moved on with the Bucks. I think they set themselves up for the week over the division again.
Exactly. So, and then obviously you had Malik Willis, the quarterback, who everybody seems to have fallen in love with. I mean, he seems to be a stand-up guy. And I mean, it's easy to root for the kid. I mean, I know he's going to take a little time to, get accumulated there, but going to Pittsburgh allows him that time, which means that Mitchell Trubisky, he's going to go out there. He's got to hold it down. Mitch's got to go out there and he's got to hold it down long enough until Malik Willis is ready to take over the reins there, because people are going to know that Malik is going to be on that sideline there, but Malik is going to need some time before he's ready to go in there. And later on, Pittsburgh's going to have to address this offensive line to make sure that who's ever quarterbacking has some time. All right, let's see. Carmichael says that he loves Malik Willis. And so, I mean, think about that. A quarterback out of Liberty, guys. I mean, not every year we get to say that. A quarterback out of Liberty. And so, but yeah, and then just to go through the rest of these things. One thing that surprised me about this draft, there's a couple guys that got drafted here that slid a little later than I project them to go. Andrew Booth Jr., I feel like that's a fine spot for him right there. But Devin Lloyd, I felt like him sliding to the Tennessee Titans, that's a steal for the Tennessee Titans right there. It just made too much sense to select Devin Lloyd at that point, given how far he had slidden on our boards there. They had to take him. Jermaine Johnson, a guy that in some draft boards, they had him going as early as to Seattle at number 9. But a guy like Jermaine Johnson, I feel like, if Tampa gets him, Tampa's extremely happy. They're extremely happy. But and then Green Bay, David Ojabo right there. You already got Johan Dotson with that first one, which was a must. They must come away with these wide receivers. I feel like before Dotson gets off the board, because once he gets off the board there, then you're going to have to end up having those tough conversations like we did with Kansas City about whether or not you go with Christian Watson, or if you choose to go with George Pickens, who is still on the board right there. Now, Sky Moore probably gets a little bit of conversation, but I think it really just came down to Pickens and Watson at that point on. Cincinnati offensive lineman made a lot of sense. And then Dexton Hill out of Michigan, because of the fact he can be a corner or a safety, that's exactly what Detroit needs right there. So we'll get ready to start the second round right now. So how are you feeling about the draft board right now, old man?
It looks good. I can see in real life a couple players not being there. So you never know. Like with the Patriots, a lot of people are saying we're going to go after a linebacker. In case Wyatt wouldn't be with Slaughter. It all depends. But looking, every team will be happy with what they got.
Exactly. You know how the draft
Unless if you Buffalo, who just hates everything.
Michael says, I might sound crazy, but I feel like Steelers can make the playoffs. And so there's nothing crazy about that at all. Because, I mean, quite frankly, it's what the Pittsburgh Steelers do. I mean, Pittsburgh, you talking about consistency. I mean, who's more consistent at getting into the playoffs than the Pittsburgh Steelers? Some things it's just the culture and all like that. We've seen plenty of teams that look like superstar teams on paper and stuff like that not pan out. It's very well possible that Miami, despite getting Tyreek Hill, they can still not make the playoffs. That's very possible. It's possible that maybe even Cleveland, if Deshaun Watson gets suspended, they possibly don't make the playoffs, And so there's a lot of scenarios that can play out there. And then obviously in the AFC West, sure, 3 teams can probably make it, but the odds are maybe just 2. Somebody's probably going to get injured throughout the season. A lot of things going to happen. So it's hey, anything can happen. And I can't wait till the NFL releases its schedule. And then we go through the schedule and see, like what looks realistic path for these teams to get in there. But that's a conversation for a different day. But here we go for the Jaguars on the clock right now. So now that we have Jacksonville back on the clock right here, what are we thinking right now about the Jacksonville Jaguars, given how the board has played out right now?
I think they go linebacker, like a middle.
And so, all right, let's see right now.
Because they cut Malik. I think they cut him middle linebacker. He's in with the Steelers right now.
All right, let me check my board real quick and see what I have for them here. And so, yeah, linebacker is what I was thinking as well, especially if one of those guys, like say Nakobe Dean, would have fell to this point or something like that, it would have been perfect for Jacksonville at that point. But that's not the case there. And so, hold on, let's see. Let's see, Carmichael says, if Williams is there, I thought the Jags should take him. And so, because I am looking right now at the value here. And so if I'm Jacksonville, if I am going linebacker, I feel I could trade back if that's the case there and pick up some more. Or, a guy like Elam, it does make a lot of sense. I mean, after all, Florida, that whole connection there, they're going to like the kid there. So that is a possibility. What are the odds you think that they potentially go corner in this situation?
Could be. They have one good guy, and they only have one good corner, and that's they signed him from the Seahawks. Griffin.
Yeah, that's right. And so I feel like just given where they are, I think linebacker would be a reach given the board that we're currently looking at. No offense to those linebackers there, but if I'm Jacksonville, I want to take the best player on the board that's worthy of that. And so you're getting a guy who I have as a first rounder potentially towards the end of that first round. And so I like Elam in this situation. So let's see. Carmichael says Miles Jack. And so good old Miles Jack.
Yeah, thank you. That was thinking about, he got caught and went to the Steelers.
That's right. All right, so we went ahead and took the best player on the board there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now for Detroit, I think the name of the game is very simple. At this point, do you think that this is where Detroit potentially takes a quarterback, or do they go somewhere else here?
Matt's still on the board. I think they might take him.
I think they get some strong consideration here. I've personally got to see right now who all have
because
we taken.
He get behind. He can sit behind golf for you.
All right, so they took. They took. We went and took. Obviously edge. We took the safety corner hybrid there. And so quarterback is in that conversation, and we'll continue to have that conversation there in terms of is he your third quarterback there? Is it not Desmond Ridder potentially?
No, Desmond is mine, but I don't think the Lions would take him. I think Desmond Ridder will actually fall to Seahawks. But I think he would be the best spot for him to follow that. They could actually go too.
I was just about to say, I think that Detroit here gets Pickens at wide receiver. That's the pick that I would take if I'm Detroit there. Because if I'm Detroit, we all know it. They don't have a quarterback here, but they got so many needs right now. Drafting a quarterback right now, it's like at this point here, I don't know how sold they are right now on Matt Carroll right now, but George Pickens, you're going to get a guy that can come in here and can compete. I feel like maybe if Carroll's still there in the third round, then Detroit, if you got that pick there, you go ahead and you make that. But I think Pickens is the right call here for Detroit. So I'm going to go ahead and make that call here for the Detroit.
Yeah, you gotta get more weapons on that side too.
That's right. We're thinking all about the future here. We're not going to set these quarterbacks up for failure no more. JB's cutting that out on this show. We're not doing it. We're not setting these kids up to fail. Carmichael says he would take Matt Carroll, and so absolutely. And so let's see. Carmichael says, I will take Pickens. Hey, he's for the Pickens, right? For the Pickens. And so, all right, I like that one. But we're going back to the Jets here. And so, all right, so now with the Jets, in terms of, is there a way that I can just narrow this down and see like all the picks that we made just for the Jets without having to keep scrolling all the way through?
We picked a wide receiver, and we picked.
I know
I
we took
think corner.
Stingley and we took Stingley and we took Drake London. So receiver and corner. And so now for the New York Jets here, this is where things get a little bit interesting here. I think at this point, I know exactly on my draft board who I had them going for, and that's safety Lewis Sign. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah. I was about to say they. I know they brought in a safety, but they could definitely use him.
I feel like that's a great move right there for the Jets. Plus, they'll get the pick again at 38 coming up there. So you go ahead and get him, prevent someone else from getting him now. But we've got the Giants here on the board. And so, all right. So for the Giants, let's see. There's got a way for me to narrow it down just so that way everybody can see who's just tuning in, who these Giants have already taken. Let's see. Let me do that. No. Oh, there goes the Giants.
The Giants, we took O-line and safety.
Yeah, so we want O-line and safety. All right. So
they could go D-line.
Yeah, they could. If I'm them, why not go and get the kid right here to Minnesota? Boye, you get an edge right there. I feel like that'd be great. What is your thoughts?
I was going to say it's either between Boye or Hall. Logan Hall.
Ooh, that's true. That is true. But personally, I feel like if they get a guy like Boye, I like him a little better in this pick right here for the Giants right here. Because we know how they love those edge rushers. When you think of I hate to say it, but the prime Giants right there, they love their edge rushers. Carmichael says I would take Matt. And so, all right, so Carmichael agrees that edge is the pick, so we all in agreement here. So let's make it happen. Perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and select him in the second for the Giants. Like the way this board's shaping out so far. We can teach a couple GMs a couple things. All right, we got Houston back up here on the clock. So what is the thought process here for the Houston Texans in terms of what they might be thinking right here?
Wide receiver, because right now the only main guy, the top tail guy they have is Cook, and you got him for 2 or 3 years left, but you also need another weapon.
Yeah, that is certainly true. They do have.
Is Sky Moore still there?
Sky Moore is still there out of Western Michigan.
I believe they would take him right here. I know it's a little bit of reach, but we took care of the old line for him. Protect them better. Now we gotta give him a weapon to throw to.
Okay. Good old Sky Moore here with the pick for the Houston Texans here out of Western Michigan. Let's see. Meanwhile, Carmichael says he says that Houston needs everything. Here we go. All right, so we have the Jets right now on the clock again. And so obviously for the Jets, just to recap what we've done with them, we went corner, receiver, and safety. And
I could see them going O-line right here. Seeing what the O-line looks like.
Yeah, let's see real quick what this. All right, so this would be a good spot right here. Let me see what's on the inside here. So let's stay away from that right now. So because we can go.
It was rumored that they were thinking about trading the left tackle because of weight problems.
You know what that
he has trouble like Trent Brown and keeping healthy because of his weight. So it might be a good idea to go tackle him.
And so that would be perfect time to get Bernhard right here out of Central Michigan. Do we agree that he's the pick here, or does Tyler Smith get some consideration at this point? I think the kid from Central Michigan, though, is the pick.
I think Tyler gets a small amount, but you're definitely going with him.
All right. Meanwhile, let's see. And so, Black Medicine Gaming, thank you so much for coming through. You say the Jets need Jesus. I don't think he's still on the draft board right now, though.
I don't think he's gonna come. I don't think he's gonna play for him.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go down there to the Jets.
Not after the one dude sold his soul for the Super Bowl. He ain't messing with him.
All right, now this is interesting here. We got the Chicago Bears right now, currently on the clock right now. So We have not had the Bears on the clock yet, so this will be the first pick right here. At first, if you ask me, I would have went receiver. However, the Bears, there's one thing that we know, Justin Fields was getting killed out there. And so we mentioned Jesus. Unless we want Justin Fields to go meet him, we got to give him some protection. So, let's go.
That line is horrible.
Yes, I think Tyler Smith would be a great pick right here for the Chicago Bears. You get that off attack out of Tulsa. And so, because Justin Fields, he can't be getting hit like that. I'm sorry, he just can't be getting hit. Before you can throw the ball, you got to stand up straight. So Tyler Smith to the Bears. Good luck, young fella. You're going to need it down there. All right, so Seattle went back-to-back picks. Got to love the back-to-back picks here for Seattle here at 40.
You already know who I'm taking if I'm them.
Exactly. Well, let's see what Black Medicine says here. Black Medicine Gaming says that the Bears need linemen. And so that is
wow,
true.
Smith will help you out big time over there. Smith will help out.
And so
I don't know if they're taking 40, but they definitely taking him with one of their picks.
And so, I would go ahead because if I'm Seattle, we already had this conversation before the second round began. Like we're going to go ahead and get Desmond Ridder here. So that is where Seattle gets their quarterback. I think this is the perfect landing spot for this game. Now, you think back to when Seattle drafted Russell Wilson, and you think back to, he was a third-round pick. He came out of Wisconsin and all like that. And so they had that run-first mentality and with the great defense. And so Russell didn't have to do a lot. He just had to really hand it off and play smart. And that's exactly what a guy like Desmond Ridder can come in there and do for this system. And so they can make it work with him, just like they did for Russell Wilson when he was a rookie. So Desmond Ridder, look out. This could be a pick that in the future we look back and say, all right, they did a good job with this one. Let's see. Carmichael says, I have to go. Bye, JB. I might be back. And so, hey, appreciate you for coming through. And if you do come back, that's great. If not, still appreciate you for coming through, Carmichael. All right, so the Seahawks still here at the club, but we got them their quarterback of the future. So they're feeling good about that. And so now, outside of that, let's see, looking at the board right now, I mean, I know that, edge is a position that they could potentially look at. But just looking at the board, I mean, we have, who does Seattle have currently right now at the cornerback position?
No, I would not know big name guy, not like a top 2 guy.
And so
I actually think they might go corner. And I'm stuck between 2 people, Kyler Gordon or Razo.
Now, Gordon is a little lower on this board than I personally have him right there. However, between the two for this team right here, I mean, I do like Kyler Gordon here. I do, but I mean,
he's
I also
a big body.
McCarty as well. And so, and Seahawks love big bodies. They do love big bodies. That is certain. At this point in the second round here, if you took Kyler, it would not be a reach, I don't feel. And so,
no.
I mean, if we like, I mean, the size is important. That is important. So we can go ahead and make that pick there for Kyler Gordon for what? Because, the Seahawks, their draft board may be a little different than most. So that would be a good pick right here, I feel, for them. So we'll go ahead and draft Kyler Gordon here. Again, it's all about fit for these teams. All right, so now we got the Indianapolis Colts with their first pick here. And so the draft. And so, yes, unless they go ahead and address that need right there. And so
I think
John,
Bell.
You think David Bell? Ooh, David Bell right there. Do you feel that that's the pick right there? And so
I think Bell will fit perfect with the Colts.
All right, so David Bell, and so
that's just my opinion.
I like David Bell a lot. I do.
Because you got Pittman, Jr., and you already know you're not going to be throwing the ball a lot. But having Pittman Jr. and then Bell on the other side, maybe bring back T.Y. Hilton.
And so
that'd be a nice wide receiver.
If they can get T.Y. to come back, that would be great. So we'll go ahead and we'll give Indianapolis that wide receiver. We will do that. And so Indy gets a receiver here to help Matt Ryan out in year 1 in Indianapolis. Speaking of Matt Ryan, his former team, the Atlanta Falcons, back up here. Now, in terms of what we did so far for the Atlanta Falcons, let us look at the
wide receiver.
And so, that was the only pick we had for them, right? That's right. Just
we only took wide.
All right. So, so we got them Garrett Wilson there. And so, obviously, the Falcons, they got a lot more needs to go with.
Here, I think it's the defense player.
And so now, in
Maybe
terms of
Hall.
yeah, I was just thinking, would this be a good place for Hall to go at for the Falcons here? But let me see. Speaking of which, all right, let's see. Black Medicine says they want weapons from Matty Ice. And so if they take my advice, they will have those weapons right there from Matty Ice. But I'm just checking my board real quick for the Atlanta Falcons and seeing, just to make sure I'm not overlooking a player here. And so I don't see an edge immediately up there that comes up there. We're not taking quarterback right now for Falcons because I don't think they will. And so, I mean, corner is also in the conversation as well for these guys. That would be something worth having a conversation for. So either we could go Logan Hall right now, and just let me look and see who else is, like, how does that whole room look out for the defense line? So,
Travis Jones is still up there?
Yeah, Travis Jones is still up there. Let's see. So at this point, though, if I'm the Falcons, I'm probably going to take Roger at that cornerback spot, though. That's probably what I would take. I mean, all those receivers that Tampa Bay has and that they possess.
Yeah, you got to.
We can get. And so, yeah, so I go ahead and I'll take him at cornerback. So the Falcons end up getting a good cornerback here in the second round to work with. And so, all right, so Cleveland on the board. And so, all right, now for the Cleveland Browns here, there's quite a few routes that we can take.
I could see them going linebacker.
So, but hold on, let me see if it comes to selection so far.
The Browns never had a pick yet.
Okay, I was just I was looking like I don't remember them being up there. That's right. All right, so defense. I mean, we know for the longest that when it comes to the Cleveland Browns here, they've been looking to try to get their defensive line situated for a long time, as far back as I remember. They just invested a lot of money in their secondary with Ward.
Yeah.
So I think right now it's the perfect spot to have Logan Hall taken.
It's either Logan Hall or Jones, the other DT.
Yeah, I think in this case
it depends on what you want.
Yeah.
If you want, in my opinion, Hall's pass rusher. If you want a run spur, you go with the other one. You go with Travis.
Yeah, you think about just how the AFC is built. If you're Cleveland, you're playing to try to get to the Super Bowl. But to get to the Super Bowl, there's a lot of good AFC quarterbacks in there. And so, I mean, not to mention in their own. Obviously, when you're in a division with the Baltimore Ravens, you do want to stop the ground, then the Pittsburgh Steelers. But to get to the Super Bowl where you ultimately want to go in the playoffs, you're matched up against, your Mahomes of the world and all those guys. You're going to need someone that can get after the quarterback there. So a guy like Logan Hall, I think that makes a lot of sense here for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So Black Medicine Gaming says the Falcons build on defense. And then he says, are in their case, built from scratch. And so, all right, so here we go with the Baltimore Ravens right here. And so Baltimore, can they bounce back this year? And I mean,
we took an old lineman with them.
Yeah, we went offensive line the first time with them, and so now looking at let me just go ahead and show the entire board here, because for Baltimore, I mean, there's a couple ways that you could go here for the Baltimore Ravens here. We did go offensive line there. I feel like there should be a good amount of linebackers available as well if they wanted to take that route.
Dang, Harris is still there?
Yeah, Harris is still there. You know how Baltimore loves their linebackers.
That might be a move. Because Harris can blitz.
Yeah, I think Christian Harris would be a nice move here for the Baltimore Ravens right there. I mean, obviously, when you're in a division where you're going to go against Nick Chubb and company twice out the year, Pittsburgh, Najee Harris twice out the year, you want to make sure you have some linebackers that can go in there and that can play. So especially at this value right here in the second round there, Christian Harris, Baltimore would love that pick. All right, so now we've got the Minnesota Vikings right now.
I think they go defensive line, like D end, or not D end, D tackle, because you got Hunter on one side.
So Travis Jones would be the pick here.
I would. He's a great because you got to think about it. Packers might go back to being one first because they don't have receivers to beat people. They might feed the ball, feed the rock.
And so we selected Travis Jones there out of UConn, the big run stuffer. All right, now for Washington back on the pick. Now, obviously, with Washington, the first time we went wide receiver. And so what are we doing this time with Washington? And how can we help Carson Wentz succeed in this offense here?
Maybe O-line.
And so
because they did lose. Yeah, they did lose the right guard to the Jaguars.
And so, looking at the board right now, given where Washington is right now, do they reach for a lineman here, or let's see what else they can potentially go with? I mean, you could go tackle here as well, and also later on go, and get that guard replacement if you see a tackle on the board that you really like. Because, I mean, Carson Wentz needs all the protection he can get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And with them losing, though, like I said, they lost out.
Yeah.
They couldn't keep him, so he went to the Jags. Even if it's a reach, I could see them reaching for Parham, the second one, Dalen.
Yeah.
Because he could play all over the board. Like, he can play all over the line. He could play guard. Actually, he played both left and right guard. He wasn't the best while he was playing right tackle, but he still can do it.
Yeah,
if you're going to reach for a lineman, I think they will reach for him.
And Washington is an organization that, in all likelihood, probably would make a reach. So we'll go ahead and make the pick there, because we know how it is sometimes. I remember when the Saints had drafted that defensive end that they drafted out of was he out of Houston in the first round? Everybody and that was a shocker right there, because like some of us thought he'd be there in the third round, but they went and took the guy. If you believe in a kid, you take him. Speaking of believing in the kid, the Bears are back on the clock. How can we help these kids and Justin Fields succeed there? We went and got him a blocker last time on the offensive line there. We got him an offensive tackle, and so now for Chicago Bears, I mean, I wouldn't mind double dipping there for the offensive line.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to back the whole line, or even go for a wide receiver.
And so James Davis, what's good with you? What's good with you? Let's see. James says, "I'm just gonna be laughing when people find out how good." I'm sorry, I can't see that one.
I can't say his name, but David's right. I was going to say they might go for edge.
Yeah, Arnold.
But they did trade Mac.
Arnold, back in that edge right there. I mean, possibility right there, possibilities. And so, but I personally feel like we went offensive lineman there, and so if I was them, I wouldn't mind double dipping there. But at this point right there, we don't want to make too many reaches there at the interior of the offensive line there. We did get him offensive tackle with the second round pick earlier, so I think wide receiver would make a lot of sense right here for the Bears. And so, looking at this receiver here, the receiving course right here is. They could. You said they could do who?
Ross. He's down a couple more.
Oh, down with Justin Ross. I see him personally no higher than the third round for Justin Ross right now. And so, given
wait a minute, we Chicago, yeah. Yeah, but Chicago, they love the reach.
we won't do that to them.
Colbert might be good though.
They could go. There's a couple routes that we could go for them. I mean, Alec Pierce, that's a guy that might get some consideration here as well. And
I'm kind of liking the Arnold though for them. That can be the Mac replacement.
Hold on. And so, I mean, if we're going off of the edge right here, and the Bears, they love their defense. They love their defense. Let's see what James says here. Let's see. James says, Mitch would be a steal if healthy. And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is absolutely right. So I think when it's all said and done, Chicago's going to have to do the smart thing here, and the smart thing for them would be to take John Mechie. And so now I know the pain right there, that John comes off the board. But I got him going there for the Bears. I think they have to go wide receiver at that one, and John Mechie is the best guy on the board there. And so
yeah.
All
and
right,
a lot of mock draft does have John Mechie going between 48 and 54.
Yeah, and so definitely. Like he would not have gotten past the Patriots at 54 with that one. They would have definitely.
I don't think he'll get past Green Bay, to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah. A guy like that, they can certainly double dip at wide receiver. They certainly need to at that point. Now we're back on the clock with the Saints here. So with the Saints, just to view the picks that we've already got for the Saints here. We already got them a receiver. We got them quarterback Kenny Pickett as well.
O-line.
So offensive line for sure. Offensive tackle.
They're I forgot his name. But he went to the Dolphins. Was a big deal. The left tackle.
Perfect pick right here to get Daniel right here to Minnesota at this point of the draft here. So we get them that offensive tackle, and there it is. And so, all right, so the Chiefs are back here on the clock right now. So if you're Kansas City at this point, now for Kansas City, we did go
edge and wide receiver, I believe.
Yeah, receiver and edge. And so right now
they could be looking at corner.
All right, so they could be looking. Corner would certainly make a lot of sense for them. It would make a lot of sense for them. Hold on, let's see. And so Black Medicine Heyman says, roll damn Tide. And so, all right, let's see. James says the Chiefs got like 30 picks. And so they really do. They really do. I keep looking and I'm like, man, they're stocked here with these picks. They really are. And so, but yeah, for the Chiefs here, just looking at the board, I like to look at the board and see where we're currently at right now. Is there any potential? Because obviously we know what Tyrann Mathieu is currently doing right now in terms of all the visits he's taken. One of the places he's not taking a visit for is back at Kansas City. So is it potential that right now, given where we are right now, if you go ahead and you take the safety Jalen out of Baylor, how do you feel about Jalen? Or potentially Jaquan out of Penn State? Those two safeties.
That might be a sneaky move to pair up with Weed, who they got from the Texans. That might actually be a nice pairing.
And so I would like that move personally. Now, I know some. Let's see. Davis says, he says, I think the Chiefs signed Justin Reed. And so.
Yeah, from the Texans.
Okay. That's right. They did sign him.
And I looked it up. They did lose a corner. I believe they lost Mike Hughes to the Vikings.
Now, looking at these cornerbacks right here, I mean, I do like some of these corners here. Now, me personally, if I'm a GM, I would love it if I can get them in round 3. However, if you like a guy, you take the guy. It's just that simple. And so is there a corner on this board that stands out to you that you really like at this point that's worthy of taking right here at this point?
Not really.
Yeah, because, I mean, some of these guys here, I like them in the third, especially if you can get some of these in the 4th round, because some of these guys, they come in with some real special teams value, like a Marcus Jones or something like that. And so, there's some good guys later on that you can get later on in this draft as well.
I don't think with how many picks they have coming up with, too, I think they can get a corner in the next round that they'd be happy with. They're not desperate in need.
Yeah. And so, is this the place where Kansas City takes Arnold, perhaps, out of Penn State?
Could be a double dip and edge. Because now, think about it, you got Wilson, Russell, and you got Russell in your division. You got Derek Carr, and then you got Justin Herbert.
We've got James here dishing out advice here. He saved us from drafting the safety earlier. Let's see. James says the Chiefs draft corners in the 6th round and make them look good. LOL. And so, that's something. There's a lot of value here. I feel like at that cornerback role that you can get like in that 4th to 6th round that'll make you still feel comfortable about these guys coming in. And if they don't come in the first year to contribute on defense, I feel like some of these guys got some real special teams value as well. So there's a lot of guys to choose from there. And so we did draft.
That's what I was saying. The main problem. It's a good problem, but it's a bad problem right now because there's so many good players that you can get later. You're going to have to reach on some of them. I'm down to take Arnold though.
And so, all right. So yeah, we can have them double dipped here at that spot. And so, all right. So according to us, the Chiefs are going to shore up their defensive line here and get some real contributors here. All right, so let's see. James says, I think the Chiefs double dip at edge. And so perfect. So we're all on the same page here. Perfect. All right, so we got the Eagles back up here on the clock. And so obviously when the Eagles were up there earlier, we did have a couple conversations there, especially when it came to the wide receiver that we took. We took Trey Burks at wide receiver for the Eagles there. We also got them at linebacker as well. But we did not go Devin Lloyd, though. We went with what's his name? Can't believe I forget his name here. The kid from Georgia, Nakobe Dean. We went with him. And so now corner gets consideration, in my opinion. Corner or edge. And so you're just looking at how this is going right there. Yeah, corner or edge. And let's see. Cornerback rise.
They could take that safety too.
Yeah, Eagles could certainly go and take a safety as well. And because I feel like right now, if they take a corner right now, I still feel like it's a bit of a reach. And so if you want to take best player on the board right now, and I'll go ahead and go back there. So, I mean, this would be a great part to get the safety here. This would be the first safety to come off the board since we took the kid from Notre Dame early on. So that could work right here for the Eagles. Again, working on the secondary right here. You can still get a cornerback coming up in the next coming rounds. But, yeah, I think that's a good choice right there. Get that safety right now because there won't be a premium at that position much longer. All right, Pittsburgh back on the clock here. Your thoughts for the Pittsburgh Steelers here? Obviously, offensive line is an area of concern.
Yeah, I was about to say I could see them reaching for an O-lineman.
They need to reach. They need to reach as deep as it takes. But do they go tackle or do they go interior? Because there's just a lot of needs here. So which guy stands out to you that it should be?
Slayer can play. He's not good at it, but like I said, he could play left tackle, right tackle. He's not really good at it, but he played all on the line, so he knows every single position.
Well, let's see. All right, James says this draft is weird because the quarterbacks are not that good, and so yeah, I mean, if you look at if you're wondering the quarterbacks that we had get selected so far, we had Kenny Pickett go first to the Saints with their second first-round pick there. We had a conversation about that when ultimately we ended up taking the route of Kenny Pickett to have Malik Willis go to Pittsburgh after that. And then we had the Seahawks take Ryder from Cincinnati. And so those are the only three quarterbacks that came off the board so far in this one. And so if the GMs take my advice right now, they're playing it smart and just build the team first with these kids here.
If there was the main guy, like a main quarterback, I could see everybody from 1 to 5 trade back. Like the Lions, the Shags, everybody be trying to trade back.
Yep.
But for the Steelers, I would pick him right there.
All right, perfect. So they get an offensive lineman here to come in here and try to help this offensive line for the Steelers. And so, yeah, that would definitely be much needed there. But we're back to the Green Bay Packers now. So Green Bay's going to be picking 53rd. They got another one coming up at 59. So a good chance here for the Packers.
Packers and KC got a lot of picks. Holy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, those trades that they made, these are a lot of players coming in here. And so I keep seeing these guys come up, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of picks coming up here. Let's see. Black Medicine Gaming says, wow, no quarterbacks in the first round. I know they suck, but that's unpredictable. No, we did select 2 quarterbacks in the first. No, yeah, we selected 2 in the first round. We took for the Saints with the 19th pick. We ended up taking Kenny Pickett. Then with the 20th pick for the Steelers, we ended up taking Malik Willis. So we had quarterbacks go back-to-back, but we just had 2. And now in the second round, we had Ryder get drafted by the Seahawks, where I think pick 40. So those are the 3 quarterbacks that have been taken off the board so far. And I'll go ahead and show the quarterback room just because, not that we're looking for Aaron Rodgers replacement, but because, yeah, these are the quarterbacks that are still left on the board here. So still, Carson Strong, that maybe that's someone that somebody like out there, but there's still a couple options out there for whoever likes these kids, but we're not reaching right now for these quarterbacks.
No. And for every team that needs a QB, I don't think they're going to reach because they're going to be in a hunt for next year.
Perfect. All right, so let's see. James says, is Troy Anderson off the board yet? So Troy Anderson's still on the board. And so, yeah, he's still on the board.
Holy.
So, yeah, like our board is just let's see, looking at something. I remember when this guy was projected to be a little bit higher early on. Him, Drake Jackson. These are like third round projections here, just looking at the board and going through it. The fact that, at this point in the draft, no running back has been taken so far. And so,
wow, I can see them getting taken with Buffalo. That's why.
Yeah. I seen Buffalo coming up there, and I'm like, yeah, that certainly is possible. And then there's still some good receivers there as well. Speaking of receivers, we know that Green Bay needs a receiver, so they need to consider double dipping. And if I'm Green Bay, maybe this is where you take. I feel like you can probably take Tolbert right here if you believe in him or Robinson.
See, I can also see them reaching for Ross right now. Him and Aaron Rodgers together could be scary. I know it's a reach, but
I feel like if the position was lacking, that would be the pick there. I mean, Justin Ross last year, I mean, the projection he had this year, that would be a loan right there. But I mean, in my opinion, there's no way Justin Ross gets taken before Calvin Austin III. And if that happens, I think it's a mistake by the team that does that. I think Calvin Austin III comes off the board for sure first before Justin Ross comes off the board there. But I like Tolbert a lot for the Green Bay Packers in this situation there, not just because he's the highest on the board there, but I feel like he would be able to take it, like they'd be able to really utilize him, considering that we did get them Dotson early on here for Green Bay.
Oh yeah, I forgot we got him Dotson. Yeah, Tolbert would be nice for Dotson then.
Yeah, so
and then you got Sammy Watkins. That's a nice wide receiver group.
And so it's something to work with. It's not what you had before, but it's something so you don't go out there and get embarrassed. So
see right here, if Chicago didn't get him, I would say John Mechie.
And so absolutely. But let's see real quick. So Black Medicine Gaming says, oh, okay, gotcha. Let's see. James says, you guys are doing a good job when you mock because I seen somebody take George Karlaftis in the top 10. And so,
what? Really? Is that for real?
Yeah, I haven't. Last time I seen a mock draft with somebody taking George in the top 10, that was back before the Broncos had traded for Russell Wilson. But I hadn't seen nobody do that since. So we took him. He was like drafted by the Chiefs with this, I think, with the first round pick that they had. So that was like
he's the first rounder, but he's not no top.
They're giving these Purdue kids a lot of love. I'll say that. A lot of love. They're not watching Big Ten football like we are. That's for sure.
No, there's no way he should have gone top 10.
All right, so the Pats here are on the board, and so we had them go D-line the first time around.
I go corner.
So, yeah, let's see who's on the board here at cornerback here. And so
I know it's going to be a reach, but out of all of these people, I like Martin the best. Emerson.
Hold on. Okay, so you like him. I feel like that might be someone that we probably can get either third. I feel like, I do personally like Kobe Bryant here. Marcus Jones, I'm very fond of him, especially if it was possible to get him in round 3 or something like that. But, I really do like Marcus Jones a lot.
When round 3 hits, I can see a lot of the corners getting taken, though, before
they will get.
So right here, with Sean Mechie being off the board, you're going to have to take a corner.
And so
I would say it's between Bryant or Emerson.
And so given the two, matter of fact, let's look to the scouting report real quick. It's coming down. It's like our instant replay right now. Let's look and compare the two and make sure that we get the right guy here. I like Marcus Jones a lot as well. But let's look real quick and make sure that we're getting the right guy. Meanwhile, I will go ahead and see what Black Medicine Gaming says. He says Kenneth Walker III still there. Honestly, it's not too surprising here in the second round that a running back has not been taken because, quite frankly, receivers are going at a premium right now. We all know the running back position has been devalued, and there's only a handful, like really two teams you can probably think of that we know need to take a running back early. There's just so many good running backs to be taken later on in this draft. Matter of fact, just to give a recap here, I mean, I know everybody's in love with Breece Hall, and then there's Kenneth Walker III up there, but I mean, look at some of these running backs up here that you can get, like Kyron Williams. This is a guy that's been talked about a lot. You can get him later on in the draft. You see a couple of Georgia running backs there. Hassan Haskins, he should be there round 5, round 6. There's some guys here that you can get that can come in and make an impact because in today's NFL, it's a running back rotation for most teams. So you use a second-round pick on a guy that's going to be a rotational piece and probably never really get you that 1,000 yards rushing. I mean, outside of obviously these two guys here, but even then, I mean, you got to make sure that you fill out your team first. Running back has been devalued so much that there's only a few teams that I feel like should even consider it in the second round. But we'll get to that soon. I feel like we'll get to that soon. But anyways, back to what we're looking at the cornerback position. And so, all right, we'll start with Kobe Bryant. All right. Draft. All right, Kobe Bryant draft profile. All right, so he is what, like 6'1", 6'1.5", and let's see. All right, so let's see. Throughout his career, he had 170 tackles, 35 pass breakups, 9 interceptions. Has the ideal size. He's, let's say, an undersized high school prospect. Blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you what, though. Honestly, he does a good job at reading the quarterback, and I do like that. Understanding of route concepts. And they say the Cincinnati staff, praises attention to detail in the film study on tape. Bill Belichick likes students of the games. And so I feel like there's really no wrong answer here. But tell me again, make your case for why you like Martin Emerson here. And so I'll hear your case while I read through for Kobe Bryant here.
The reason I like Emerson is because he's a big body receiver. He can play both sides of the field, so he can play slot one, cornerback one, cornerback two. He does need a little bit of work. Again, I'm not expecting either one of these players to come right in and take over. I expect it to be like a year, at least half the season where they learn in the books. But we do have Butler. Our corners aren't the top hill, but they also not that bad. Like they bad, but they're not the bottom of the league.
Okay.
So like I said, you can either go either way because the one bad thing about Martin is he does need to work on his tackling a little bit, and he kind of does try to play bully ball too much, but he's trying to be on the receiver too much, and he does get flagged for it.
Okay, meanwhile, let's see. James says, I keep hearing a lot of rumors of the Chiefs trying to get to the 12th from the Vikings to get Jameson Williams if he's there. And so, I know that the Cowboys will definitely be an aggressive team in terms of trying to go up and get Jameson Williams there. But if Kansas City moved up there, that would be tremendous. Because honestly, where Kansas City's picking at right now, in the last couple of mock drafts that I've done, if Kansas City's like me and they're doing the mock drafts as well and they're being honest with themselves, they're going to run into some trouble. So by the time they pick, all the first-round pick receivers that we're projecting are going to be off the board by the time Kansas City gets up there. So they may want to move up. Like, they really might want to really think about moving up on a serious note. Let's see, James says, I'm not a GM because it's too much work.
Oh, yeah. That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yes, they do. They get paid the big bucks to go and mess up our teams. And then
it's also rumored Chicago might be looking to trade up to get one of the Ohio State wide receivers.
They would have to really make a trade to get up and get
they would have to, yeah.
Let's see, James says, somebody's going to draft Tyreek Williams in a second, which they shouldn't, because if he gets with the right scheme, he's a Pro Bowl type player. And so, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the one problem with him.
he has to be in the right scheme. He can't, because if you try to put him in the wrong one, he's gonna become a bust.
Yeah. And so,
Like I said, you can't go wrong with either one of them. Brian's a good player. I think Brian will be able to come in and be taken over quicker. Martin just has, in my opinion, a little bit higher ceiling. But he's going to need work. He's not going to, like I said, he's going to at least need half a year to figure out stuff.
well, I'll tell you what, whenever we have a close one like this, we turn it to the guys in the chat here and ask you guys to make the decision here because we both feel pretty strongly about both. In terms of, there's no wrong answer too much here. It's just one's more of a, projection. The other one, you come in, you get that, more of an impact sooner. So, hey, are you going to go with Kobe Bryant here? Or are you going to go with Martin Emerson? You guys let us know in the chat which guy you think is the right pick here for the Pats, and then we'll go off of that. And so let you guys be the ones to make the decision, break the decision here. Let's see. James says, I tell you guys, watch a lot of film because Cook is that guy. And so, yes.
James Cook, yeah.
Yes. And so I know that old man has done a couple mocks, and so I know that he's had the Pats take James in what, like round 4, is it? Or
I took him in round 3 before, but that was with me trading back from 21 when I traded with Chicago because Chris Olave was still there.
Okay, let's see. James says, "Give me Bryant. I don't trust Packers with Woolen," and so. So we've got one right here for Bryant there. So right now we're leaning towards that. Let's see. Black Medicine says Nick Saban is the right pick. Don't think we're going to put him out there defensive back. Let's see. Black Medicine says Fireball. So toss there. So ultimately, I think we go ahead and go with Kobe Bryant here. And so Martin, you brought up some good points about Martin there, but I feel Kobe's a good pick here for the Pats.
Yeah,
so,
like I said, you can't. It all depends on what Bill wants. If Bill wants a play that he has to coach for you, then you take Martin.
Oh yeah. Let's see. James says Pats. I meant. Let's see. Black Medicine says Kobe Bryant has all the hype. I'm taking him. So he says I trust the board here, and so all right. So there we go. So now we've got the Cardinals on the board here. So let's look at what we did with the Cardinals. I know we went cornerback with them. So yeah, we went cornerback.
Yeah.
We did lose Chandler Jones there. In free agency.
How about Nick? Right off the Nick or Drake?
I like Drake. I'm a Drake guy here. And if you guys in the comment section want to let us know as well here, because it's all obviously very close here. But I like Drake Jackson from USC slightly better than I do for Nick out of Oklahoma here in this scenario here for the Arizona Cardinals there. So I like Drake Jackson as the pick.
Like I said, it depends on your scheme, like who you like in your scheme. And we don't know the scheme yet.
Right. Let's see. James says, yeah, if you want Woolen, you better have a coach that's willing to take time with him. And so for me personally, if I got to take that kind of time with you, I rather like, and not my second round pick, not my second round pick. Third round, we can perhaps, but not my second round. I need my first 2 rounds to be for sure, like sooner. If I need you to play, you can come in and play.
I say I have to look in. I say you take Drake with Cardinals.
All right, let's see. James says that Nick is a speed rusher, which I like, but Drake can do it all. I take Drake, and so there we go.
That's what I'm saying. If you're trying to replace Jones, you go after Drake because he reminds me.
You have to. I feel like you have to right now. But we've got them Dallas Cowboys back on the board again. And so if there's one thing that we know, talk about replacements, is that we know that Dallas did lose Amari Cooper. We know Dallas loves things that, shine like a receiver here. And so for me personally, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm taking Calvin Austin the third right here.
I was about to say.
I'm doing it. If I'm Dallas.
It's either they take him or they take a corner to pair with Diggs.
And so, yes, and Dallas, if it's close, they're going to go with the offensive player. Jerry likes touchdowns. Touchdown sells tickets. So Jerry's trying to sell tickets and trying to sell the Dallas Cowboys. So he's going to go ahead and take this kid out of Memphis.
That would be a scary wide receiver group, though.
Yes. And not to mention how little, CeeDee Lamb and Calvin Austin are making between the two of them in that scenario, or will be making. So, but now we're back to the Atlanta Falcons.
You mean Buffalo?
Oh, sorry, I skipped Buffalo, y'all.
I think they take Walker.
Now, do you think that they go Walker over Breece Hall here?
I do.
I think for Buffalo, Kenneth Walker makes more sense in this scenario than Breece Hall. I get it. Breece Hall has the more hype there, but if we're being real here, Kenneth Walker III, he's everything Buffalo doesn't have in the backfield. So I trust Kenneth Walker III personally in this scenario for the Buffalo Bills more than taking Breece Hall. Now, just because he may be the one higher on the board here, I like Kenneth Walker III so much. I think he's perfect for Buffalo. We go ahead and give them that running back that they so desperately need in the backfield.
Yep.
And again, Josh Allen is happy with this pick. All right, so now we get to the Atlanta Falcons here.
Falcons again. Oh.
All right, so yeah, we went.
We took what?
Let's see what James
says. Wide receiver.
Let's see. James says, speaking of edge rushers, how do you guys feel about Sam Williams from Ole Miss? I think the kid can be really good in the NFL. And so he's going to be one of those guys that I feel like, you're going to look around the NFL years from now, 3-4 years from now, you see him in there as a starter for some team, whether it's still, with the team that drafts him and stuff like that. Probably still with the team that drafts him, but I feel like he's a guy that's going to pan out in the NFL. And he's going to be a good rusher. I feel like he's going to be a good rusher in the NFL. What about you, old man?
I agree. I don't think he's going to be like the top dude, like till A, but he definitely could be till B. Well, he'll come to work every day. He'll put the effort in. He might not get you all the flashy plays or like all the stat wise, but you're going to get yourself a hard working kid.
And that's all you can. Sometimes that's all you can ask for, honestly. Especially if we're looking at that second, third round, you want guys that are going to come in and be starting caliber at this point. And so, all right. So we're looking here for the Atlanta Falcons here. So, what are you thinking here for the Atlanta Falcons right now with them on the board here, knowing the holes that they currently have on this team?
Oh,
because we went receiver first time.
Did we take an O-lineman for them yet?
Let's see if they've had a second pick for them. I don't think that they – no. Oh, wait. We took cornerback for them, so we went corner. So definitely that means –
I think O-line.
Here. So, all right. Let's see. All right, so Darian Kennard out of Kentucky. Unless there's someone that we like better, but I think this would be a good pick here.
Nah, I like Dylan. Going to Falcons. They get a big body O-lineman, try to protect Mariota.
And so you say you like who?
No, I like Dylan. I like the first guy.
So
yeah, I like him.
All right, so we've got someone here for the Falcons, and so
the Packers again.
We got to keep picking for the Packers here. They got to put us on the payroll at this point. Let's see. James says Perry Renfrey with Grady Barrett. That would have been nice. That would have been nice right there. Yeah. We'd have got Jared with him. That'd have been nice. That'd have been nice. Let's see. All right, so Green Bay on the clock again, and so let's see what we've.
Did we take corner for them?
For Green Bay, no. We went receiver and we went edge. That is what we.
I could see them. I could see them taking the corner here.
And so now for the Packers here, which corner?
I think they might take Martin. Yeah, he's going to need work and everything, but he's a big body one. And he won't be number one right off the bat. He'll be like number 2.
All right, so we will go off of Old Man's suggestion here at this cornerback. And so Martin here for the Green Bay Packers, they get a project to work on here. It may work out if the correct coaching is done. And so, all right, so now we're here at Tampa. And let's see. James says Packers need pass rush help too. Didn't they lose their top edge? And so, yeah, we gave the Packers an edge in the first round, was it?
Yeah, it was the first round.
Yeah, that's right. David Ojabo out of Michigan. I gave the Green Bay Packers David Ojabo. That's why I gave them in the first round. Once we conclude the second round, which will be coming up soon, we'll recap what we've done so far with all the picks and stuff like that. But we did get Green Bay someone as a replacement in David Ojabo. And so, all right, but now we've got the Buccaneers.
That's going D-line maybe because they did, like I said, they don't. Sue has not
D-line
came back
makes
yet.
A lot of sense here. Makes a lot of sense here. So Winfrey here. I mean, because I feel like D-line is definitely something. Now, if we had not had the Patriots go Devontae Wyatt at the D-line there, Tampa Bay, I feel like would have been a lock for him.
Yeah.
So now they go ahead and get a D-lineman at this point here in Perrion for Tampa. All right, we got them San Francisco 49ers up here on the board right now. And so all this talk about Deebo Samuel, is he going to stay? Is he going to play? Is he going to be gone? Is it about the money? Is it about the role? What's going on with Deebo Samuel there? And so obviously his status would drastically change what they do. But what are you thinking right now at the San Francisco 49ers?
Like you said, we taking the fact that they might trade Deebo. I could see them going wide receiver, but if we're going off of them, they still gonna have Deebo. They might go corner or linebacker.
Corner has been such a need so far, but I feel like there's a lot of quality linebackers right now that, like Quay Walker right here, some people have him going a lot higher than right now. So if they get a guy like Quay Walker,
Chad's not bad either. Chad slept on a lot, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. So I think right now, given how the board's playing out, you go linebacker in this situation. It's just whether you want to go Walker or if you want to go Chad. And so let me see.
If it's between them, Walker.
James says, oh, okay. And so, we'll go ahead and let Walker get taken here by the 49ers here. 49ers get another great linebacker. The 49ers, they love having them some good linebackers. And so you get another one here in round 2 in Quay Walker. And now Kansas City, another team that's been up there who knows how many times for us already in this one. Let us see.
Now I have a question for you. Do you think they'll go running back?
I personally, for Kansas City, I could see that potential of them going running back. I personally wouldn't do it, but I understand why they would do it because they're going to have to evolve their offense. Now they don't have Tyreek. You're going to need more help from your running game. And so it makes sense to consider that for Kansas City. And at this point, I mean, he's a tremendous. On many people's boards here, he is the top running back here, and so I think it takes some strong consideration. It just depends on. I think we look at another player and compare the two, and if we really like the other player, go that way. But if we're not in love with the other player, then I think Breece Hall right now makes the perfect pick. You know what? I think Kansas City right now, because I know cornerback is something that we would look at for them. Safety as well. Let's see who's up there right now at that. Well, we already talked about that earlier in terms of safety. So if we're not going that route,
it's either corner. It might be corner.
And so now, if you're Kansas City here, which corner do you find the most attractive here? I mean, I like Marcus Jones here.
I like Jones. Out of the top 4 guys, I'll go Jones. Goodrich, but I think he's more of a third round.
Let's see. James says that the Marvin he would be scary with Chris Jones. I do like that idea right there. James brings up
I never thought about that.
Point. He brings up a great point there. And so, I mean, he probably should have been, what are we at? Almost at round 3. Yeah, he definitely should not reach the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a great pick. It helps the Chiefs D-line there. You want to get after some of these quarterbacks there. I like it. James has sold me on this one here because
he sold me too.
And so we'll go ahead and do that. That's put all of us in the draft room for a team. We'll get it right. This is why you have multiple people in the draft room, honestly, on draft day, because quite frankly, you may overlook someone that, someone else is like, hey, we can't overlook this guy. And so let's go ahead and look at the available players here now. Obviously, Cincinnati, first time round, we went offensive line there. And so now for the Bengals, what are we thinking this time around?
their biggest problem was corner playing in the Super Bowl.
Corner, and so
because they did fix the whole line in the offseason, and they drafted. Then we have them drafted.
James says, "No, it wasn't an idea. I don't want the Chiefs killing quarterbacks."
Wow.
It's too late, James. It's too late. The damage has been done.
I feel bad for the AFC West quarterbacks. They're about to get them all killed.
They've got you to thank for that. Yeah. All right, though. But, yeah, for the Cincinnati Bengals, the corner is certainly a spot where, yeah.
I like Jones. I like Marcus going there.
And so, all right. So, yeah, I personally like Marcus better. I mean, there's just so much to Marcus' game here in terms of potential and what he's going to be, and just the value that he's going to bring for the NFL franchise there. We'll go ahead and get the Cincinnati Bengals Marcus Jones there. Now, Willen's probably looking like, he's like, I'm not that bad. All right, the Broncos are here on the clock here. And so you know what that means. With the Broncos, you just acquired Russell Wilson. What's the best gift you can give him right now? It's on that offensive line. And so, yeah, giving the guys on the board, is there someone that stands out to you, or is Nicholas the guy?
Yeah, I can see them going to line, or I can see them going linebacker too.
Yeah, linebacker is certainly a possibility. Certainly a possibility. But I feel like
with Shad still being there, it's either between Nicholas or Shad.
You know, the Broncos do value those. I feel like every year we're watching the Broncos pick, and they get on the board, and they draft a guy that's like common sense that we're like, wow, how'd nobody make that pick already? And so,
with them bringing in Greg from the Cowboys, and then with you having Chubb still, listen,
that's right,
Shad in the middle, that would actually look nice. Yeah.
I seen some mock drafts that had. I'll finish this real quick and we'll get back to you. But I seen some mock drafts that had the Broncos taking like Channing Tindall at this spot. So if they can get Chad moving right here, that's a great pick for them. But go ahead.
I was about to say, plus Broncos O-line is underrated in my opinion. They have a lot of younger players. They need to figure out what position they play the best in.
Okay, so yeah, linebackers sounds good right here. And so this would be another great addition here for the Broncos. You know they love defense. They love defense here. This will make them happy. John Elway will be smiling. And so, I'm sorry, John Lynch will be smiling there. So there you go. All right. So let's see. James says, yeah, you guys make way more sense. You guys mock makes way more sense to me. And so I appreciate that. Let's see, James says Channing Tindall is most likely going to turn into an edge by the way he plays. And so great possibility there. So we got the Jaguars up here once again. And so looking at the board here for the Jacksonville Jaguars, we know the Jaguars, they've got quite a few needs here. And so what are you thinking as possibility here for the Jaguars?
Did we get them in a line yet?
For the Jaguars, we have so far gotten,
because I know they tagged the left tackle. I know they tagged them.
Corner. We have not got them offensive line help at all.
It might be O-line time.
And so
Nicholas is right there too. They will love him.
That's right. The Ohio State. Let's get it. Don't have to convince me when it comes to a Buckeye player. That's all I need to see. All right, so we got Detroit back here on the clock.
Detroit, did we take a corner for them? Because I was telling you before, their corner that they drafted a couple years ago is hurt still.
Oh, wait a minute. We went right to the third there. Let's recap where we are right now. So I took Hill, what's it?
Went to 30 seconds. Yeah.
Corner. Yeah, so that's what I took with that pick right there. But let's go ahead and just recap right now where how this draft has gone. I won't take up too much time going through it here, but it all started obviously Aiden Hutchinson with the first pick. Didn't want to overthink that. We went Kayvon number 2 because to us, Kayvon, that skill, the ability, the potential right there, it's right there. You can't overthink it if you're Detroit. You're not getting out of that pick. Sorry, you have to make that pick. Meanwhile, for Houston, Evan Neal, I feel like he's the best lineman on the board, so I felt like that made a lot of sense there for the Jets. Derek Stingley Jr. Now, some people might go Gardner here. The Jets, they love shiny toys. And so Derek Stingley Jr., we went that route there. Meanwhile, for the Giants, they went with Akeem. They're out of North Carolina State. Great pick for them. Great pick. Meanwhile, for Carolina, Trayvon Walker. You think Trayvon Walker? When I think of the Carolina Panthers at their best and stuff like that I've seen them, I think of all the defensive linemen that they had, throughout the line, the Julius Peppers of the rails, the Chris Jenkins of the rail. And so they love to have an established defensive line. That works out great for Carolina. Kyle Hamilton there for the Giants there. He's going to be a game changer in that secondary. And so that we debated going Gardner at corner. Either way would have been a great pick for them. But you're not going to find another guy like Kyle Hamilton later in this draft. You can probably get a corner later on, but you won't get a Kyle Hamilton later on. I promise you that. And so we chose that right there. Garrett Wilson for the Falcons. It just made too much sense not to do it because, quite frankly, they need a receiver. You got to throw to someone other than Kyle Pitts. Remember early in the season when Kyle Pitts was supposed to be, he was getting targeted left and right. It took a couple games before my man got going last year because there was, quite frankly, defenses trying to take him out and stuff like that. So, therefore, he's going to need some help there, and he won't have Calvin Ridley there. He gambled the season away. So, yeah, that's a wrap. Seahawks there, Charles Cross, made a lot of sense to get offensive line there. Obviously, Russell would have preferred that while he was there, but better late than never. Jets, Drake London, they've been looking for a receiver high and low. If they can't trade for one because no one wants to go there, they've got to go ahead and draft one. Drake London. Washington, Chris Olave chose him over Jameson. I gave Jameson Williams some real thought right there, but ultimately, Drake London, you got to go with Drake London. I like what he did before he got hurt there, and I like his upside. So ultimately, we went with Drake London there. I'm sorry, Chris Olave. I'm talking about Fred Washington right there. We went with him, but let's see what Coach Dante has returned. What's up? Glad to have you back here, Coach. We're just recapping right now what we've done through the first two rounds. James says Trayvon Walker's ceiling is so high. And so, yes, it is. And then down there in Carolina, they're going to love him. They're going to love him down there in Carolina if they take my advice and draft him. All right, 12, Ahmad Gardner. So we had Gardner going here to the Vikings, and quite frankly, they need to update that cornerback regardless of whether it's Gardner or Stingley Jr. They need to go ahead and upgrade that cornerback room there. Houston, Jordan Love, Jordan Davis. They're going to love that pick right there with Jordan. The scouting combine that this kid had, just this pure size and the impact that he's going to have in the middle, he's going to be a real force to be reckoned with. You think about Houston, the last time they had a real run stopper up the middle was when they had Vince Wilfork. So you get a guy like Jordan Davis to come in there, and that's going to be great. The Ravens, we went Trevor Penning there out of Northern Iowa. Get Lamar some help. That's the mission. That's the assignment. And so Trevor's going to be called upon there to try to make life a little easier for Lamar Jackson. So hopefully next year he'll be able to play a lot more games and actually finish the season, get the Ravens hopefully in the postseason if you're a Ravens fan. Eagles, Traylon Burks, because of that pure size, 6'3", 225 pounds out of Arkansas, it just made too much sense. Jalen Hurts, he's going to run around. And any quarterback that likes to run around, you just want to throw it up to a receiver that can win a 50-50 ball, and that's what Trey Burks gets you right there. But speaking of throwing the ball, Jameson Williams for the Saints at 16, having that deep pass there from Jameis Winston to think about it, Jameis to Jameson, come on now. That's going to be fun at least for 1 year until – we'll get on that one later right there, but until somebody replaces him after a year. Zion Johnson, offensive line help for the Chargers. Great move there. N'Kobe Dean for the Eagles. I felt like it was a great fit right there for the Eagles if they go linebacker at N'Kobe Dean. Kenny Pickett, we had that conversation there for the Saints. And so Kenny Pickett, he's more of that, more ready to play year one type of thing. Although with Jameis there, he probably won't have to unless Jameis struggles or gets hurt or something like that. But you'll have Kenny Pickett there in the waiting his opportunity there. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, Malik Willis, great coach, great culture, great fit for Malik Willis. Devontae Wyatt there for the Patriots. A lot of people have the Patriots going linebacker right there, but we went Devontae Wyatt because the Patriots, when you think about the first dynasty that they had with a young Tom Brady, that defensive line was stacked. And so if you get someone that can come in there and stop the run, you won't have Buffalo gashing you for like 40-plus points or something like that. If you have somebody that can come in there and cut that mess out, and that's what Devontae Wright's job is going to be there for the Pats. Jahan Dotson for Penn State. We had the Green Bay Packers taking him. Green Bay desperately needed to get a receiver there. And so getting a guy like Dotson that can come in there, play that slot there, that's going to get Aaron Rodgers someone else to work with. And quite frankly, he needs all the help he can get. Cornerback for the Cardinals, they had to do it. Trent McDuffie had to do it. The Cowboys, Tyler Lindenbaum. And so Tyler slid. He's a top 15 prospect in my mind. But, hey, this guy, he slid. He slid big time on this board there. He should have been in the top 15. Like, if we're just going off of pure talent, he gets taken in the top 15. But we had him slide 24. Buffalo getting Andrew Booth Jr. As a Pat fan, I don't want this to happen. But that's a possibility. For the Titans, Devin Lloyd. Now, Devin Lloyd to me was a shocker. When I was looking at the board, and I was like, wait a second, Devin Lloyd's still on the board right now. How did that happen? And so he should not be on the board when the Titans get up there. But if he is, Tennessee's going to make sure that they put him to good use right there. So Devin Lloyd would be a steal for the Tennessee Titans if they end up taking him. Tampa with Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. That's a great place for him to end up at right there. I know some people think he might be a top 10 type guy. I think this is right where he needs to be. David Ojabo out of Michigan with that second pick right there for the Packers. Great pick right there coming off the edge. And so I like that a lot for them. I took him over George for Penn State. Now, some people, I'm sorry, for Purdue, some people might take George a little higher. We didn't do that here. We took him at 29th here for the Kansas City Chiefs with the first pick and with the second pick. We had a long debate. Do we go Pickens? Do we go Watson? But we knew a receiver had to be taken. You just had to do it. So, therefore, we went Watson out of North Dakota State. It's just a matter of preference right there over Pickens at that point there for the Kansas City Chiefs. But they could very well go Pickens out of Georgia. And then we went Kenyon Green there. Whichever offensive lineman that slides to this point for the Cincinnati Bengals, you take him and you work with him. And for Detroit with the final pick in the first round, you take Dexton Hill because he's that corner safety hybrid right there. And so let's see if we have a comment real quick. Let's see. James says, don't kill me for saying this, but I think Treylon Burks can be Julio. if you add, with the size he got, pending, I don't know what was Trey Burks' 40 time. I forget what his 40 time was, but he's definitely a big body receiver. But if he could be at that size, if he could be Julio, sign me up for that.
If they could get half of Julio, if he could be half the wide receiver Julio was, it's a win. Because you got A-Rod.
Just not have the endurance, the endurance.
Injury prone, yeah.
Just don't do that now. Don't copy him in that regards. All right, so for the second round, though, we went Kerr Elam out of Florida for Jacksonville. I felt like he was the best player on the board, a guy that could very easily go in the first round. And then for Detroit, Pickens gets taken out of Georgia. I like that one there. Lewis signed, out of Georgia as well. A couple of Georgia players back to back here for the Jets. They get a safety here. Boye out of Minnesota at edge. Sky Moore. And so Sky Moore right here for the Houston Texans. Quite frankly, you got Cook, but who else you throwing the ball to? Nico Collins? I don't remember Nico making that many plays last year, so you go ahead and get another guy. Of course, Nico can take that next step here, but of course, you want to go ahead and make sure that Davis Mills has a real chance. So you give him as many weapons as you potentially can. Then Bernhard here out of Central Michigan for the Jets here. Secure that offensive line as best you can. Speaking of offensive line for the Bears, it was a must. Tyler Smith. If I'm the Bears, we're probably making the quickest pick of the draft. We're taking Tyler immediately. There's no thought. Get us that offensive line help. We know that's what we need to do. This was already discussed before we came in. There's no conversation.
If Smith's still at 39, it's to take 5 seconds to make the phone call. So yeah, we have him.
That's it. Just like that. Now for the Seahawks, we went Desmond Ridder at quarterback from Cincinnati, and then with the second one, we went Kyler Gordon at Washington because on our boards he was a little bit higher in our opinion. So we went into Kyler Gordon there for Washington because of the size. I'm sorry, for Seattle for the size. So therefore that worked out. Now David Bell. The Colts get David Bell. That's scary right there to me. That is scary right there to me. David Bell would fit in great with this Indianapolis Colts team right there. I know we've seen a couple guys out of Purdue high on this board and all like that, but David Bell, he deserves to be up there, if not higher. We had the Falcons going cornerback here. Roger McCreary there out of Auburn, and I think that's a great pick for them, especially when you have to go against all the receivers that Tampa Bay has in that division right there. That's a great pick right there. For the Browns, Logan Hall. They've been trying to figure it out with that defensive line there, so you get a guy like Houston. You think about how stacked the AFC is with quarterbacks. If Cleveland thinks that they're a playoff team, you need a guy that can go after these quarterbacks there. That's exactly what Logan Hall can get you right there. Christian Harris for the Baltimore Ravens, a steal of a pick right there. I don't know how some teams do it, and even in these mock drafts, they still get away with this stuff. Now, Minnesota, Travis Jones right there. They're thinking run stopper right there. Obviously, Green Bay may have to run the ball a little bit more this year. And so, hey, what better way to make sure that you're secure for that? Because the first round, you went ahead and got a cornerback. Second round, you went D lineman. You're trying to improve your defense right now. And so you're investing in that. Meanwhile, for Washington, we went for the interior of an offensive lineman there. A bit of a reach there, but definitely a need here for a team like Washington. It's going to be need over value at this point here. And so getting Parham here, a guy that can play multiple positions there, that's going to be something that they certainly need to consider at the very least. Now for Chicago, we grudgingly gave them John Mechie III here. We was hoping that he'd fall for the Patriots, but John Mechie right here, great fit. He was the best receiver on the board there. Chicago needs to get a receiver as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they double dip on the offensive line there, honestly. But we went receiver in that case there. Meanwhile, for the Saints, we went offensive tackle out of Minnesota. Chiefs, we went Arnold out of Penn State here on the edge for Kansas City. For the Eagles, we're getting the safety, Jalen out of Baylor. I was wondering where that second safety was going to go at. Meanwhile, for Pittsburgh, interior of the offensive line there. Jamari, he can play so many positions there out of Georgia. And so Pittsburgh needs to make sure they secure that offensive line. If you saw Big Ben, sometimes he looked like he was in danger out there. And so definitely got to get that offensive line to improve for sure. Green Bay, we went ahead and got another receiver. We double dipped here. Again, this time Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. Meanwhile, for the Patriots, after much discussion, we went ahead and gave him cornerback Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, we went Drake Jackson there off of the edge right there. So I like that pick right there. When you lose a guy like Chandler Jones, getting a guy like Drake Jackson, great move right there. Meanwhile, for the Cowboys, I couldn't make this pick fast enough. Calvin Austin III. He may not have been first on the board at that time, but for me, he was first there for the Cowboys there, and I like that pick a lot.
If he's there at 56, he's another 5-second pick. Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then Kenneth Walker III. He's our first running back off the board here. Kenneth Walker III out of Michigan State there for Buffalo. Now, I know a lot of people are in love with Breece Hall, as they should be. However, Kenneth Walker III, he is everything that Buffalo needs in a running back, and I really trust this kid a lot. I feel like in that system, he will really excel. Buffalo is the place he needs to be. But as a Pats fan, I hope that doesn't happen. But that's the place he needs to be. Meanwhile, for Atlanta, got some offensive line help there with Darian Kennard there out of Kentucky. Green Bay. Now, with Green Bay, we took Martin Emerson here, so he comes with the potential. He's going to need to be coached. It's going to probably take a little time there, but he certainly has the skill set there. If he works on his tackling there, it's going to take the proper coaching to get the most out of him. And so we'll see if Green Bay can get that done for him. But Green Bay in that scenario gets a cornerback. Meanwhile, for the Tampa Bay, they go D-line here. They take Winfrey out of Oklahoma, which is a great spot for him. The 49ers went Quay Walker here. Chiefs went the Marvin Lil, and so we can thank James for that one. And then for Cincinnati, we've got Marcus Jones out of Houston there. So I love Marcus Jones, his ability to, play special teams, play defense there. There's just so much to like. He's going to give you so much value being on your team right there. So I think Cincinnati's going to love this kid, over time. And as for the Broncos, speaking of loving, getting Chad Mooney out of Wyoming at that pick right there, that's an absolute steal for the Denver Broncos right there. They love defensive players that come in there with that big-time impact, and they're going to get that with Chad at that linebacker position there. So that's what we went there. And so at the start of the third round there, the only third-round pick that we've gotten up so far is Nicholas, the offensive tackle out of Ohio State for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so now we're back on the clock with the Detroit Lions here. And so let's go ahead and look at who's all on the board right now. So, all right, so now we're in round 3 right now. And so looking at the board, what stands out to you right now?
But right now, they might actually go quarterback. But it wouldn't be a bad idea.
In round 3, I can be talking to that for them taking the quarterback here. So, and looking at the quarterbacks. Go ahead.
If you're the Lions and you feel like you're not going to be in the hunt for the top 2 QBs next year, you go after one of these players. You go after Matt or even maybe Sam.
And I'll even say this. Last year, you think about what Houston did with Davis Mills. There was a lot of quarterbacks that were taken in the draft. But Houston, they had a lot of needs, so they worked on the needs first. And then came round 3, they went ahead and took Davis Mills. And so if I'm Detroit, we know Jared Goff's not the answer. That's not what we're debating right now. We know that is the case. And so for Detroit, I feel like
the only debate is do you see yourself in top 5 next year? If you do, you don't take a quarterback. If you don't, you can take Matt or you can take Sam and be happy with them.
And so, matter of fact, though, let's see what we've taken so far with Detroit, though. Let's see.
Even Carson Strong might be nice.
Me personally, if I'm Detroit, because I'm pretty sure we can agree that Detroit's going to have a top 5 pick next year. I think it's just going to happen.
Yeah,
it's just going to happen, especially if you end up not. And even if you take quarterback right now, someone's going to take this kid, but if I'm Detroit, I don't want to play around. I want to go ahead and get some pieces that's going to come in here and really make an impact, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. In their mind, if they think they're not going to be able to be in the hunt for the top 2 quarterback, you take it. But more than likely, they'll have at least the top 5 pick.
And so I say we go ahead and give them a linebacker here. Give them a linebacker.
Leo?
Here. And so we could go Leo here. We could go Troy as well out of Montana State. I mean, a team like Detroit, they may be inclined to probably take a guy like Troy who's rising on people's boards and stuff. It's a possibility. Let's see where we at the comments here. James says he takes Troy Anderson. And you know what? I think I agree with him right here. I think now's a good point for a team like Detroit to take a guy like Troy who's continuing to rise on boards here. And so I say we go ahead and do it here. And so I know Leo's still up there, but I think in terms of for Detroit specifically, we go ahead and take TA right now. And so we'll go ahead and make
all right, go ahead.
We'll make that one for Detroit. All right, now we've got the Giants up here.
Now here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think now here's the Giants question also could be for the same thing the Lions. Do you see them having a top 5 pick or in the hunt for? But in my opinion, Danny Dimes not the QB. He's not.
He's not the quarterback. That's for sure. The question is, what are we getting out of Saquon Barkley in this year? If Saquon is, remotely what they think that what he used to be or what they drafted him to be, then at this point,
so we did take O-line. We did help him in the line. And what I was thinking is they might be looking at Carson Strong. He has a big arm. He can throw the rock. He might let him sit for one.
And so, because you know what? The Giants would be looking potentially at a guy like, that can come in there and potentially be that quarterback right now. Someone's going to take a quarterback in this round here. And so, yeah, I'm not sold on Daniel Jones at all. And so you never know if he goes out there and struggle. If you have Carson Strong as the best option here for the Giants.
It's either between him or Matt. I like Sam, but I don't think Sam is much better than Carson.
I don't. Yeah, Sam's just. Meanwhile, James said Troy Anderson played quarterback in college too, and so a guy of many talents. I personally would go ahead and probably give them. I'd probably go ahead and give Matt Carroll here. I mean, hey, the last time they took a quarterback out of Ole Miss, it worked out for him, right? So
yeah,
I'll go ahead and give them Matt Carroll here.
Because like I said, next to a lot of these teams that need a QB, like say Dolphins, say the Eagles, have so many picks that they can trade up and grab them.
Yeah, exactly. So we finally went quarterback again. I mean, most times in the NFL, we're not having the fourth quarterback come out here in round 3. But one of the biggest surprises on the board is that Breece Hall is right now currently still on the board. I think Houston
pulls the trigger here because they really don't have a good running back other than Bullcat.
Yeah, I was about to say. Now, didn't they pick up someone in free agency, if I'm not mistaken? Well, anyway, so this is definitely a need for them. So he's too talented at this point to pass on if you're Houston. So I agree. Breece Hall gets taken here by the Houston Texans here. And so the running back that many people believe is the best running back in this draft gets taken by the Houston Texans. And if you're looking at Houston's draft picks so far that we've given them the best lineman, the best D lineman, the best running back. I mean, you might as well say they're having the best draft. And so that would be a fact. All right, so with the Jets right now on the clock, let's see what we've done so far in terms of our selections. Let's see. All right, so we went Stingley at cornerback. We've got him a receiver there, offensive tackle, safety, and so
they might say Nick here.
And so perfect time. I think this is a great pick for them right here to go ahead and take Nick right out of Oklahoma. So we'll go ahead and draft him. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take good old Nick here. They can certainly use that edge.
Gotta get after the quarterback. Right now, I hate to say it, but Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the division. You gotta build your defense around them.
There are some things you know, but you just don't say out loud.
Hey.
I'm glad Mike's not on right now. He would. He'd
I know. It's all right, though. Max Jones still had a better 2 years than he did.
Right. Let's see. James says if Matt would have waited until to get drafted next year, he would have been a top 10 pick. And so, but yeah, I mean, I feel like him going to the Giants at that round, I mean, that's good for him because you'll get to wait for Daniel Jones. You know, after a while, when the Giants fan starts losing and stuff like that, they're going to want to see what the kid can do. And he'll get an opportunity. And I mean, they don't have that top tier receiver, but they spent a lot of money and invested in that position for sure. And so, I mean, it may work out potentially for him. He'll have a shot at least at some point, I feel like. All right, so here we go with the Jaguars back again. And so for the Jacksonville Jaguars, let's see what all we've done so far. All right, so for the Jaguars.
Now, did they bring the tight end from the Bengals? I know.
For Jacksonville, did they sign that tight end? Hold on.
Because I'm not sure if they did or not. If they didn't, I could see them taking the tight end.
Let me see if I can look that up real quick. I did think about tight end with one other team earlier. I can't remember who, but let's see. Yeah, we may need to strongly consider getting him a tight end right now. So I say go ahead and get Trey McBride. It's great value right here for the Jaguars to go ahead and get him at this pick. So I say we can go ahead and get tight end. We're getting Trevor Lawrence another weapon to work with right now and getting Trey McBride.
Oh yeah, they bought in the wide receivers and the free agent. Give them a tight end. A tight end's a QB's
and so
secret weapon, safety blanket.
See what James says. James says pair Cam Thomas with Josh Allen at work for the D-line. And so, I mean, that would have been a route to go there. But I think right here, I think this is a good spot to get the first tight end off the board here. Because Jacksonville, they're going to want Trevor. They're going to want to see Trevor get some results here. And so, if they don't take him now, they're not going to get him. So, we'll get that tight end that they want here. They're getting the best tight end in the draft right now. And it goes in round 3. And so, all right, so we're here in Chicago. So let's see what we've done. With Chicago, I know we went offensive line first, and then we went
wide receiver. Maybe corner.
And so, yeah, I mean, they had a couple games where it was really them getting burnt.
And Wilson actually sounds like it's a Bills player for some reason.
All right, so we'll go ahead and make that pick there. Yeah, being a GM is – all right, so we've got Seahawks here on the pick. So as for the Seahawks –
we went quarterback. Why are we O-line?
Yeah, we went quarterback. We went off offensive line. Was there another Seahawks pick or –
and corner too.
All right, so yeah, that's right. So yeah, offensive tackle, quarterback, cornerback, and so let's see.
Maybe edge or linebacker.
I personally, at this point, let me see who's on the board at edge here. And I think for the Seahawks, you go ahead and go edge right now.
Who are you thinking?
Cam Thomas here.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking I'm liking that a lot here for the Seahawks, matter of fact. And so let's see, James says, I just love the mock LOL. Only if you guys were in someone's office on draft day. And so
see, it's a lot. Some people do this out of fun and everything, but it's hard doing a mock draft.
Yes.
You gotta figure out the system
Exactly. I mean, to do it for 32 teams, it's easy to study like a couple of your favorite teams and stuff like that. But to know what every single, like what scheme is every single team running, what schemes did these kids run in college and stuff like that, like what their, strengths and weaknesses, all of that stuff. Yeah, that's why the GMs make the big bucks. And that's why a lot of them get it wrong time and time again. Now for Indianapolis here on the clock, let's see, what have we done? So I feel like they've only had, one pick so far? If I'm not mistaken, we went wide receiver.
Yeah, we went wide receiver. We gave Matty Ice.
Yeah, so we got Matty a receiver out there, but Matty said we can't stop there. He said we got to get some offensive line here, and so now, I mean Abraham Lucas,
they do need a tackle because Eric Fisher did leave, or he didn't sign back yet.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, here in the third round, perfect. Go ahead and get you another offensive lineman here. You want to help Matt Ryan as much as possible here. And of course, his former team right there. Now for the Atlanta Falcons, we went receiver, corner, offensive tackle. I think now might be a good time to actually, what are we in round 3?
Yeah.
Now it's a good time to, if you're Atlanta, I think we might actually end up going potentially. I'm considering edge as a possibility. For some reason, Leo out of Wisconsin does not strike me as a Falcon type pick at all. I mean, it's possible. Like and so I'm thinking Kingsley would be the pick here if I'm the Atlanta Falcons. I like him as well. So
yeah,
we'll go ahead and make that.
He seems like more of a Falcon player.
Yeah.
Type guy.
All right, so let's go back to the selections. Broncos are on the clock here, and so all right, so obviously for the Denver Broncos,
they could take a tight end.
Yeah, tight end was something that I was eyeing at earlier, but when he came off the board, I mean, that's certainly one position right there. What else are we thinking potentially as an option for the Broncos? So, I mean, hold on. Because they gave away their tight end to go to
they traded them to the Seahawks.
So let's help Russ some more. I mean, we're getting Wilson a lot of help here. Well, first we helped his defense here, but now we're going to give him a tight end. So the second tight end off the board here. All right, so Baltimore, I remember that we had Christian Harris get taken by Baltimore here, and so let's just look real quick. All right, so D-line, we haven't gotten them any defensive linemen or edges yet. Our corner. So is now the time to go ahead and get Mathis here. And so,
Mathis, yeah. Because you did bring back Campbell, but only for 2 years.
And so we just gave Baltimore 2 Bama players. Nick Saban, he'd be wearing a Baltimore hat if they're going out there taking all his players. All right, so we've got the Vikings on the clock here. We've been working on their defense this entire time in terms of getting them, we got him a corner. No, we got him a corner, and we also got him a defensive lineman as well. And so, so for the Vikings right now, what are you thinking in terms of for the Minnesota Vikings right now?
Maybe safety, because you don't know how long Harris is still going to play. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah,
he might actually want to leave and go for a ring.
And so this is the perfect time. I mean, my man, he's probably been waiting like, are you guys just going to overlook me the entire time? So we'll go ahead and get Brisker out of Penn State, sign him up for the Vikings here. I mean, if you get him at this point in the draft right there, I think that's a great pick there for the Vikings in round 3. All right, so we got the Cleveland Browns.
You think wide receiver?
For the Browns currently right now, I feel wide receiver would probably be a great pick here because we know what all the receivers there. Now, in terms of which wide receiver goes there, I mean, is it Pierce maybe? Or
I think they all about the hype and they go Ross.
You think that they go Justin Ross here?
Yeah, it's just because of hype. He's a good player and everything, but he has a lot of hype around him. And you know Browns are trying to get all the hype around.
Yeah, so all right, we'll go ahead and get Justin Ross that shine right there. And so we'll go ahead and pick him there.
Get Watson another wide receiver.
And so, all right, speaking of another wide receiver for the Chargers, I think it'd be probably great to get them another wide receiver. Now, I was going to have Justin Ross probably get taken by the Chargers as opposed to the Browns and stuff like that. But with him off the board here, then if you're the Chargers, is this where you take Pierce from Cincinnati?
Yeah.
And so,
oh yeah, if you're the Chargers, you'll be happy with either Ross or Pierce.
And so, yeah,
you'll be happy either way. To give Justin Herbert another wide receiver, give him another weapon. And
all right, so yeah, Houston's like they said this is their draft, this is their year. So let's see who's on the board right now. And so,
Leo, maybe.
Yeah. I think when you're at Houston, Texas, you got to get some of the best players out there on the board there. So go ahead and take. Leo should have been probably take. I think, third round, it's a good value pick here for Houston. So they've been winning across the draft here. When we look back at the team-by-team selection there, right now, I think Houston probably has the best outcome so far in our mock draft in terms of just what they've been able to do in this one. Because, they're getting
they fill in a lot of key spots with a lot of players who can come in and take over. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure.
Exactly. Now the Giants are back on the clock here. And so
you think they take Spiller?
I would if I was them. I would honestly if I was them. But I mean, they feel that they don't have
you don't know about Barkley, like you said.
Yeah.
You really don't know.
And they let go of Booker. They let him walk.
And Booker did pretty good last year.
Yes.
He was sneaky good. I will go Spiller. Because like I said, you don't know about Barkley. And if anything, you will have a 2 monster head running back. And you could take some loads off of Saquon.
And so Isaiah Spiller to the Giants there. All right. So meanwhile, the Falcons here. Let's see what we've done for the Falcons so far. In this one, just to remind myself. All right, receiver, edge, corner, offensive tackle. And so given the board.
See, here's the tricky part again. The Falcons, 90% still will be in the top 10.
Yeah. So
they wouldn't take Sam.
Well, do we go? I mean, I feel like even with that being the case, many times they do, like at this point of the draft, Sam Howell, it's a possibility, like with Houston Davis Mills.
See, that's what I'm trying to say. It's hard because trying to think ahead.
I feel like at this point, you've gotten a good amount of pieces here. You've got 4 players already. I think you can go ahead and take that risk at this point on Carson Strong.
Yeah.
I thought about that. I was like, Carson Strong's higher on my board than Sam Howell. I can't do it. I'm sorry, Sam. I can't do it. I can't do it to them. So we got the Falcons, a quarterback here in Carson Strong. And so, sorry, Sam Howell. I thought about it, but I'm just not sold on him.
See, I could see Sam being a Panther. For some reason, I could see him being a Panther.
They just like Sam's that, like Sam Howell, Sam Darnold. Pretty soon it'll probably be the same thing out there. But that's not a bad idea for when Carolina gets back on the board, though, potentially. All right, so where are we at right now? Oh, I got the Eagles. So 80s team right here, the Eagles. And so what have we done?
Maybe O-line?
And so, oh, yeah. I mean, we didn't get him a cornerback yet?
No, we haven't. Oh, yeah, they definitely getting a corner in the third.
Yeah, so cornerback. And so, I mean, if you don't like, I mean, I say Britt here, unless you feel really good about Amar Davis, but I feel like he's probably like 4th round.
I would put Davis in the early 4th.
Yeah, so
it's too early to take him. I'll take Taylor.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we've just got the Eagles, a cornerback here in round 3. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers back on the clock. And so last time we go offensive lineman, I think in round 2.
Yeah.
And so
we got him quarterback and O-line.
And so let's see. So since we've done that for the Pittsburgh Steelers, at this point, For Pittsburgh, let's see. Looking at my board there, and we
Maybe
went
edge.
offensive tackle, or did we go like inside the interior of the line? Did we go tackle or?
I think we went in line, but I think we took the dude from Georgia. I think we gave him O
That's
line
right.
like a move around.
We went interior. That's right, because he couldn't move around there. Looking at the board here, I mean, unless we wanted to double dip here for the Steelers.
What does edge look like? Because they could pair up
No.
Sanders. Nah.
Yes, Sanders.
With TJ with Watt.
You know, I mean, it would provide some depth there. It really would. And so, I mean, in the AFC, you can never have too much depth. And so, I can see them taking Sanders in this case. You went offense 2 times in a row. Go ahead and get your defensive player here to come in there, add to that.
They could take a wide receiver too, because they did lose Juju when they lost James.
And so, you're right. You're right. Now, of these receivers here, is Robinson the pick?
Out of the receivers who are available, yeah, he's the best one.
And so, yeah. Robinson. I know he's looking like, I think we overlooked him like twice. So we go ahead and get him that. All
Some
right.
of these players will look at this and be upset. Like, why am I so far? Hey.
It happens. It happens. All right. So now we've got the Patriots on the board. And so last time we went cornerback. First round we went D-line. And so it's now the time where we potentially go, well, let's see. I mean, we want to get a receiver. But, I mean, if not receiver, then we can go linebacker now. I mean, there's quite a few linebackers to choose from.
See, now, what kind of linebacker do you think we're looking for? More coverage or more blitzing?
Based upon what we currently have right now, especially if we end up, bringing back Hightower, stuff like that. I mean, maybe a cover type of guy.
Because Mac is the coverage. I know Mac, he brought him to be the coverage guy.
And so,
if we want an all-rounded player, he might be a Reese Hill or Brandon Smith.
And so, well, if there's one thing about the Patriots, they do not
mind
reaching.
He definitely won't be there in the round 4 for us. But Brandon Smith could do a lot of little bit of everything.
And so we'll make that the pick here for the Pats.
And I know Patriots fans are screaming at us to get us a wide receiver. Listen, we were going to take Messi in round 2, but he went to Chicago.
And so, that was the ideal situation there. But sometimes the board just doesn't play out the way you would like it to. But here we go with the Raiders on the clock here. So Las Vegas Raiders. And so what have we done with the Raiders so far in this one?
I don't think we really did anything. I think this might be the first draft pick.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was like, I don't remember seeing.
Oh yeah, this is because they traded the first and second.
That's right.
For
that's why I kept seeing Green Bay coming up so many times.
They might go edge though.
So they may go edge as a possibility there, and so just
or linebacker because maybe linebacker because they do have Crosby and Jones.
Yeah, they have those guys. And so, I mean, I feel like this is a perfect spot right here for Tyndall. I mean, he may be taken a little earlier when it actually happens, but it'll be a great pick here for the Raiders. They'll be excited about that to get Tyndall in there. All right, now for the Cardinals here. Now, in terms of what we've done so far for the Arizona Cardinals, we went corner, we went edge, and so what are you thinking?
O-line?
Interior of the offensive line there.
Yeah, O-line.
And so, Sean Ryan there, UCLA. Say less. We got to keep Kyler Murray healthy somehow. All right, Cowboys are on the clock here. All right, so for Dallas, I know the first time we went Lindenham out of Iowa. We went with that pick. Then we went back and got the receiver out of Memphis. And so we went O-line, receiver. And so
maybe edge or D-line because they did lose Greg.
Yeah, edge, they need Sanders here. So Cowboys We'll take him. All right, Buffalo Bills here on the clock. So with Buffalo, last time they were up there, we got him a running back, and we went Kenneth Walker III. The first time they were out there, we gave him Andrew Booth Jr., and so I'm sure Mike would be jumping out of his seat if that happened. All right, so here in the third round, will we go ahead here and get them a receiver, do you think? And so, I mean, I think it's at least a consideration at this point. But let's see what's else out there on the big board just to make sure we're not overlooking someone. Now, we could go edge here for Buffalo, but I feel like they certainly can use a wide receiver here, especially around round 3. So
I think they take a wide receiver. It depends on which one now.
Yeah, it depends on which receiver they like. And so I guess we'll stick with the board here and take Shakir out of Boise State, unless you see a receiver that sticks out to you.
Nah, like the other ones I think you could get later in like the later 4th, maybe 5th.
Yeah, so Buffalo takes a wide receiver in the 3rd round. All right, Tennessee. Speaking of a team that could certainly have used a wide receiver themselves. Let's see, what have we done for the Titans so far? All right, so they only had one pick and gave him a linebacker there. They took what a pick it was, though. Devin Lloyd, that was a great pick there. So
you know what might be scary? I don't see them doing it 100%, but they might actually, because he fell, they might take Cook. Dalvin Cook, brother.
Yeah, and so matter of fact, looking at the running back thing, I mean, if Dalvin Cook got drafted,
because what do you call it? Because with Derrick Henry getting hurt last season, and they could say, "Oh, we could plug anybody in and still be good." That would actually be a scary duo, Cooks and Henry. Plus, you're taking less carries away from Henry. That means you can save him for the playoffs when you need him to be healthy.
I feel like the guy that they had step in after they got away from the whole Adrian Peterson experiment that failed did a fairly good job. I'm not sure if he's still on the roster, but I feel like he did a fairly good job at coming in. And like once he got things going, I should say, like towards the later weeks there. But I mean, that's certainly an option to consider there for Tennessee. But I feel like Tennessee, they really, if they're going to grab someone here in the 3rd round, they really need to get. I mean, they would like to get a receiver, but looking at the board right now, it would be a reach at that point to get a receiver.
They might even take Sam. Who knows? Tannehill might not be the guy.
You know what? They have the rumbles there about that, and they're clearly not going to waste the 1st round pick on it. And so I know this is not what everybody. Now that you mention it, something like this is going to happen. Sam is going to get taken in the 3rd round here, and so.
And for the team that left over, maybe the Buccaneers, but they took trash last year. Yeah. Packers, no way. 49ers, no. Broncos, no. I think if he gets taken in the 3rd round, it might be Tennessee.
We'll go ahead and give Tennessee a quarterback here because the receiver's just not up there. And so, Sam, because there's been a lot of talk about, potentially that. And so, I mean, even what was it? Yeah, go ahead.
Like I was gonna say, he doesn't have to start off right away. He's not gonna take over right away. But that gives him a year underneath the playbook. And if Tannehill starts pulling Tannehill Dolphins on you, go to the young guys. Plus look what they did. They traded for Tannehill because Marcus Mariota wasn't the guy. They're not afraid to go get a quarterback.
Exactly. So, all right, we've got Tampa Bay up here on the clock. And so with Tampa on the clock here, let's see, we went D-line last time and we went edge the first time. And so now they would have loved
we got him O-line too, didn't we?
We have not gone offensive line yet. But Cole Strange,
I will go O-line because
sure. Go ahead.
I will go O-line. Yeah, they got Zach Mason, but the other left guard on him retired.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll give him Strange here. All right, perfect. So we've gotten Tampa Bay there. So now we've got the Packers back on here on the clock. And so Aaron Rodgers and company trying to figure out how to work this out here. So what have we've had them up there a lot. So we've definitely look and see what we've done so
far. We're wide receiver, edge,
cornerback.
Maybe O-line.
I was thinking we haven't gotten them any linemen. And so just looking at the board here. But ultimately, if you're Green Bay, you go ahead and at least get a lineman. It's just a matter of, do you want Jurgens here from Nebraska? I mean, that could be a pick. If not him, or do we go tackle?
On Hill, they have Zach Thomas playing in line. He could play left tackle. He could play right tackle and guard too. I know it seems like a reach, but for some reason I think Zach Thomas would be a third round.
And they have him listed as a tackle here. You said
no, there's a in line.
Zach Tom here. Okay, so out of Wake Forest here, and so
yeah, they got him on 144. I don't see him dropping that far.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take him here. Although that probably would be more of like a Patriot type pick there, I would think, in that scenario. But we'll go ahead and give them that. And then let's see who else we've got coming up here. All right, so we've got the 49ers here. So how many more picks do we've got coming up here in the third round? And so we've still got quite a few. Okay, I was about to say we've got quite a few more. All right, so we're getting there. All right, 49ers on the clock right now. And so what have we done so far for the San Francisco 49ers here for the faithful? All right, so
I think we only picked
all right, so we got a linebacker. Cornerback, I feel like is something that they
definitely need QB.
And so let's go ahead and get them.
Coleman
or
go with
the preference, and so I think
Davis. Davis seems like a
49er type of selection
player.
So I say go ahead and take Davis. Battle tested for sure, so why not? All right, so we got the 49ers, their cornerback. All right, so for the Kansas City Chiefs, on the board here, let's see what we've done for them so far. All right, so the Chiefs have wide receiver, edge, D-line so far in this one. So we really worked on that defense here. And so is this the point? I mean, I know they would love to double dip again at wide receiver here. But looking at all the options.
I know you shot down the earlier picking a running back, but they might go running back in the third.
At this point,
I don't think it'd be Cooks because
I'm about to say
he's not a power. They need a power back.
What about a guy like Damien? Well, what about Brian Robinson Jr. there?
I think Robinson will fit better for him because they have a lot of backs that are elusive, who's a first, second down, but they don't have like a third down, a fourth down guy. Or even at a goal line.
All right, so we have Kansas City going running back here, Brian Robinson Jr. A lot of Bama players, again, taking back-to-back there. All right, so now we've got the Cincinnati Bengals here on the clock. And so let's see what we did for the Bengals. I mean, first time they was up there, we went offensive lineman. What did we do last round for the Bengals? Was it corner or?
I think it was cornerback. Yeah, it was corner.
Yeah, corner.
I think maybe linebacker, but linebacker is
Let's see. So now of these linebackers here, I mean, Damone Clark strikes me as a Bengal type of linebacker here. How do we feel about Brian out of Oklahoma and Darian out of Cincinnati?
See, I don't know why they have Clark so low though. I mean, so high, or whatever you want to call it. I think he should at least be ahead of Please.
Yeah, so I think it's a good, like, in terms of fit wise, I think this fits the pick here. So we'll go ahead and make that the pick.
And he gets LSU. Hey.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's get back to here for the Broncos. Okay. So the Broncos are on the clock here once again. And so for the Broncos, I mean, I know last time we went linebacker. Time before that for the Broncos, we went, what did we go for the Broncos? Was it edge or, I'm sorry, not edge. No, we went tight end
and tight end.
Tight end. All right, so now at this point, though, for the Broncos, I mean, let's just see the board here. At this point, do we potentially think maybe about
Nick Croft? Maybe. I don't know who the second safety is.
And so let's see. I think for the Broncos in this scenario, looking at my board here, I mean, I feel like they would probably go edge here, maybe. And so obviously they like to keep that position well stacked there.
They could go at who's available for edge.
Well, we've got Josh Pascal out of Kentucky, and so top player.
Grab him. Josh and subs together, and then Greg in the D line. And
so, all right, so we're back here to Detroit. Who is Detroit's tight end right now? Like at this point of the season?
Oh, they got a good tight end. I don't know his name, but he's really good.
Hawkinson. That's right. So
we went wide receiver with them, correct?
With Detroit, we were going. Let's see. All right, so for Detroit, we went edge, safety, receiver, and linebacker. And so we need to get a corner.
Maybe a corner.
Yeah, we need to get a corner for them. And so I say let's go ahead and go.
McCollum.
Yeah, let's go McCollum here out of Sam Houston State. All right, perfect. Let's see where we are here. All right, so we got the Saints here on the board. And so obviously with the Saints, we gave them their quarterback of the future. We gave them a wide receiver to work with. Outside of that, have we really
gave them a line
tackle as well? So now we got to work on that defense here. And so looking at all the players on the board.
What does D line look like? Because someone's getting older.
Yeah, now in terms of the D line, we've got Zachary Carter from Florida, in which by the time they pick again, I doubt he's on the board.
Oh, they got Nell all the way down there?
Yeah. And so, let's see. So that's how I was looking on the D line, just a glance at edge. I mean, Sam Williams. You know, the Saints are about their edge rushers.
Yeah. Sam might be the move here.
So we'll go ahead and give them the edge here. Okay, so let's get back to this. All right, so we get the Browns here. The Browns on the clock. And so let's just look and see what we've done so far for the Browns. All right, so for them, we gave them a receiver, gave them a D lineman. And so
was them not bringing Clowney back yet? They might actually go for like a left end. But
that's what he's still out there. And so, and if they do, then I like Alex Wright, but I don't think I like him at this point. So
I like him in the fourth.
Yeah, I like him in the fourth as well. And so, I mean, Malone, Western Kentucky right here, you get an edge. So say why not?
Like they know an hour later they bring back Clowney after we all done.
Yeah, just to mess with our picks here, they'll do that. And so, All right, let's see. Ravens right now on the clock. And so
did we get him a wide receiver yet?
We have not given him a wide receiver.
And we all know both Ravens fans complain that Lamar doesn't have enough help on the wide receiver.
Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, they've got some good receivers to choose from here. And so I think we go ahead and take the kid from Nevada.
Yeah. He's going to take dubs. He's going to take some dubs with Baltimore. The Eagles, again. Some of these teams got a lot of picks. And if they blow them, they are horrible.
That's their job. That's their job. That's their job right there if they end up blowing them. All right, so we went receiver, corner, linebacker, safety. Defensive line was definitely, let's see, edge, D-line. Maybe at this point, Zachary. And so
he won't be there when they next pick, though. So
yeah, so
more likely they take him.
And with all the picks that they have stocked up in the draft, go ahead. All right, Miami's up here.
I think this is Dolphins' first pick, ain't it?
First time we've seen him up there. That's right. And so obviously the project is trying to protect Tua, keep him standing upright, get him as much help as possible.
I would hate it, but Cooks might be the move.
And so, I mean, they certainly – can you look at the running backs that they bring in? They brought in what's his name?
Mostert.
You know he's injury prone.
And he's getting old. He's getting old up in age.
Gaskins didn't have it. He ain't had it, don't have it. It's not there. So a guy like James Cook comes in, it's going to make life so much easier, especially in the system that they're going to try to run down in Miami. He'd be able to excel.
I hate it for New England, but Dolphins will love him.
And so, so now you get a guy like James Cook. All right, so now the Kansas City Chiefs are back on here on the board here. And so is
Nick
this
Cross looks.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, at this point, like, maybe you just go ahead and take that safety there. Just,
yeah.
If it's nothing for depth, if he doesn't get out there till he's ready, you go ahead and make that move. And so, all right, so we've got Cross there. All right, the final two picks are coming up, man. What a wonderful day here. We've got the Rams right
finally.
And so, so it's about time. And so what are the Rams thinking here?
Do the Rams have a good tight end?
And so I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, who is the Rams tight end? Hold on, let me look at their depth chart real quick and see if that can remind me who the Rams got at tight end. Because of all the people that I remember from the Super Bowl, I don't remember much about I remember, didn't the Rams tight end get hurt and then come back in the Super Bowl or what? Maybe I'm thinking.
I'm not 100%. All I know is if he's not a top guy.
Yeah, you've got some names up there that you can choose.
You got some good names up there. Ohio State. Jeremy, he's pretty good.
They've got Tyler Higbee.
Oh, then no, they're not taking a tight end right now.
Yeah, forgot all about that.
Maybe an edge to replace Von Miller.
That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense there, depending on who's on the board there. If they're going edge, I probably would go Alex Wright here if I'm going to go edge. And so, given who's on the board.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we'll go ahead and go Alex Wright here off the edge. All right, and the last pick we've got here is for the good old faithful San Francisco 49ers. And so, obviously, we know they're stacked at tight end here.
Oh, yeah.
And so, let's see. What have we done so far for the 49ers? All right, so we gave him a corner, linebacker. And so, I think at this point, given the fact that the whole Deebo Samuel stuff is out there, we get him a receiver. And so, if you like Jones, great. If not, then I say Danny Gray.
In my opinion, I like Gray a little bit better.
Yeah. And so
that's with the 49ers too.
Yeah, so great minds think alike. So they go ahead and get them a receiver here just in case Deebo does not end up staying long term. They got a receiver. So that is the first 3 rounds there. That is it. And so Yeah, so just to recap, we'll just recap the third round. We've already done the first two a couple of times there. After we recap that,
Yeah.
we'll just go through that. But let's just start at the third round here. All right, so here we go. So in the third round, we started with the Jaguars here. They went offensive tackle Nicholas out of Ohio State. For the Lions, we went Troy Anderson, linebacker out of Montana State. For the Giants, we gave him a quarterback, out of Ole Miss. They've done a good job with Eli Manning, when he came out of Ole Miss. So Matt Carroll, maybe they can do the same thing here for the Giants. He can come in there and maybe provide a spark. Speaking of spark, Breece Hall, who many people think are the best running back in the draft. If the Texans get him in round 3, that would be tremendous. I mean, because so far in this mock draft, they've ended up getting the best offensive lineman in Evan Neal. They got the best defensive lineman in the draft. Now you give them the best running back as well. I mean, hey, not a bad draft at all if I'm the general manager of the Houston Texans here. The Jets, you get them the edge, Nick out of Oklahoma. Jaguars got the first tight end off the board in Trey McBride. Bears went cornerback Woolen out of UTSA. And then the Seahawks, Cameron Thomas, that was a good pickup there. Colts went offensive tackle out of Washington State. Falcons went edge out of South Carolina. And then you've had the Broncos. They got a tight end here. Ravens went D-line. Vikings went safety. Browns went Justin Ross. And then the Chargers went receiver again and went Alex Pierce. And then the Texans, they went linebacker. We got a great linebacker here, by the way, Leo Chenal out of Wisconsin. Giants got Isaiah Spiller at running back there just to answer some of, in case Saquon comes out and doesn't give you what you're hoping to get, at least you got insurance now. And for the Falcons, you got a quarterback that may potentially be that quarterback of the future. You never know how things are going to play out. Carson Strong. Then the Nebraska, they've got Cam Taylor-Britt. Steelers, they've got Robinson at Kentucky. Patriots, we went with Brandon Smith at the linebacker there. And for the Raiders, we went Channing Tindall. He fell somehow to this spot here, but great pickup for the Raiders, and I believe that was their first pick of the draft. Then the Cardinals, Sean Ryan of UCLA. Cowboys went edge. Bills got another receiver. And then for Tennessee, they've got potentially their quarterback of the future, Sam Howell. It depends on how he performs. But if Ryan Tannehill goes out there and struggle, you at least get another option, and hopefully Sam has some time to develop. Then you see what you got. Tampa, inside, you went in the interior of the offensive lineman there with Cole Strange. Packers, you went Zach Tom there out of Wake Forest. And then San Francisco, you went Jalen Lamar Davis. And then for the Chiefs, you went Brian Robinson Jr. Bengals, Damon Clark. Broncos, Josh Pascal out of Kentucky. For the Lions, you went Zion McCullum, Sam Houston State. And then for the Saints, they love their edge rushers. So Sam Williams, great pickup there. Their Browns, they went edge as well out of Western Kentucky. For the Ravens, they went receiver and Romeo Doubs there out of Nevada. For the Eagles, Zachary Carter out of Florida. And then for Miami, they went James Cook. It was very interesting to see where James Cook was going to end up at, but the Dolphins get him in round 3. Meanwhile, for the Chiefs, Nick Cross out of Maryland. You have Los Angeles, Alex Wright of UAB, and then for the 49ers, Danny Gray out of SMU. And so that is it. And so that concludes our mock draft here. And so is there any words that you'd like to say, old man, about just this experience and just some of the players and how that things played out?
A lot of people are going to say that this person shouldn't have fell that quick or nothing, but I can see a couple of these people falling. But in my opinion, if this how the draft goes, 90% of teams should be happy. They should feel like they filled their holes. Texans, Packers, and KC, I think, might have the best draft out of them all.
Strong words right there. And so, but absolutely, I mean, some of these teams, I mean, my goodness, they just had so many picks coming up there. But one thing I will say is that in our mock draft, we did not really reach when it came to these quarterbacks and stuff like that in this mock draft. And so if these GMs exhibit this type of patience this year, this will be the first time in a long time that we've seen GMs be patient with some of these quarterbacks in terms of, not reaching for a guy. And so, but yeah, I mean,
plus we didn't do no trades either.
That too, no trades as well. But yeah, some of these picks though, like Kenneth Walker III, that was perfect for Buffalo. And so, yeah, I like how this played out.
That hurts though. Messi hurts though. As a Patriots fan, that one hurts.
Oh yeah, that just goes to show though, with the way that these receivers are moving out, like we may need to, for the Patriots, they may need to trade back move and acquire an extra second or something like that. So that way they can pick a little earlier in that second to get him rather than sit where they're currently at and expect him to fall in their lap. That may not be feasible. Because if we're running the entire problem here in the mock draft, then absolutely.
And like I said, I don't want people to think, oh, you're a Patriots fan, so you're not gonna. No, we went team by team, no fan base, no nothing, and picked the best player for the team that we think.
Exactly. But yeah, this is great. And so I appreciate you joining us here. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here, but just want to thank everybody for coming through and tuning in and watching this mock draft here. Really was a fun experience. And hey, I appreciate each and every person for coming out here. And guys, don't forget to follow Old Man Mob on Twitter and stuff. I got his information there on the bottom of the description here. So definitely do check him out there on Twitter and make sure you guys are following him. And so, but with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us here. We're getting closer to the NFL draft. It's coming soon. And so certainly looking forward to that. I'll be definitely going live throughout the
and let us know your favorite team and how you think we did in the comments.
Yes.
Let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Let us know your favorite teams, favorite players and the thing, and just what you found interesting as well, as long as your I guess grade. Give us a grade as well. How did we do in this mock draft? Give us a grade here. All that great stuff, guys. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. And hey, see you guys next time.